102.
Welcome to the show.
Can you?
Grab me a positive synergy. I have been doubted through life. Been there and done that with trifling people who told me my style would not work. I told them they wrong. Been struggling too long. This song is for you. I'm proving you wrong. Get out my way. 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 Get out my way.
Testing. Can y'all hear me? All right, I think y'all can now. What's going on, y'all?
Testing.
Can y'all hear me? Okay, perfect. Let's see what's up with my camera. What's going on with my camera? Hold on. Let me see. Camera resolution. Are you on? There we go. All right, man. I ain't know where I was at, y'all. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Welcome. Y'all listen, man. Y'all listen. I got some great freaking news, y'all. Okay? First of all, I missed y'all, man. I had to take a day, to just kind of, relax and rebound and, spend some family time with Lady K and the kids and everything like that. But, man, listen. When I got off of here, we was about 20 subs away from 4,000. Well, we are now at 4,023. So I want to thank y'all, because if it wasn't for y'all, believing in me, coming over here, listening to what we're doing as far as, I think some of y'all understand how hard we work. These ladies, these gentlemen that come on here and help me read, man, they work hard. You know what I'm saying? And so I appreciate everybody. I appreciate y'all, because y'all are the ones who made this happen. Let me put this link in the chat for my readers in case they want to come in. Give me one moment here, y'all. There we go. Let me go ahead and pin this to the top. Yes, y'all. We are now over 4,000. Like, I got so many people just to thank for that. I haven't had a chance to. Y'all give me one moment. Hold one moment. What up, K-Love? What's going on?
Hi, congratulations.
Man, listen. I remember there's some people that came on here when I first came on here. They remember when I was like 100 subs, right? And man, starting from everybody from Larry, who, when I first started, you know what I'm saying? Like I never expected this to take off the way it has, but through a lot of hard work, through a lot of, man, just you have like it's so much that goes into a channel. Like you have to kind of create a reason for people to want to listen to you. You got to have things that they want to hear, and through the music battles, through the church services, through the morning show. It's a lot of different things, and it has finally come to a point to where I feel like I've accomplished something on this channel. Now a lot of people might say, "Oh, 4,000, that's nothing." You're not 100,000 like the big bloggers and all that. I get that, but in the Word of God, I believe in it says, "If you are faithful over little, God will make you a ruler over much." And I do believe that word. And so, like I said, if it wasn't for y'all, all y'all right here in the chat, this would not be happening for me. So I appreciate it. I believe God's going to take this channel to a whole nother level. And with the help of, hard work from people like you, K-Love92, King Johan, Tanya, all the people that come in here to help me make this thing happen, man. I do appreciate y'all. So I thank you also.
Oh, no problem. I'm glad to be a part of this. I really am. Indeed.
So, King Johan he's in traffic. So, I have the link pinned. Did I have it pinned to the top? I don't think I did.
Yes, in there.
Okay, it's in there. So, I don't know. We're gonna see. I'm gonna see who comes through. There's some things I want to go over with y'all. There's King Johan. He said you're all in the chat. So I'm not sure. I hope he's coming on here to help me read. I think he's in traffic, but yeah, man. Listen, once again, thank y'all. We reached. That was one of my little goals. My first goal was 3,000, right? And when we hit 3,000, I was like, ooh, okay. But we didn't have a chance to celebrate or anything like that. And through the help of Plainest Jane, I can't express how much her friendship means to me, how we and her were able to come together, and she's just amazing. How she was able to help people and say, hey y'all, there's a guy I want y'all to check his channel out, check out what they doing over there. And that was a huge boost. I mean, we went from CJ, what's going on?
Hi guys.
Hey CJ.
I don't want to disturb the accolades.
Listen,
congratulations. Continue.
Hey Leslie Mitchell.
Hello, Atmos. How are you?
Oh, it's Lesmond.
Oh, it's Lesmond. Okay.
Yes,
I know that voice.
Is.
How are you?
I'm great. I am driving, so I can't read, but I just wanted to come on and tell you congratulations on reaching those followers. You do such an amazing job, from the music battle to this blessed house on Sunday morning. You really filled my soul up yesterday. And so I just wanted to thank you for that and wanted to tell you Godspeed. Keep going. You're amazing.
Thank you, sis. I appreciate that.
No problem.
I appreciate
Happy reading, guys.
Indeed.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. But no, man, we hit 3,000. I'm like, okay, we got people like, you need to celebrate. But I was like, man, we don't have enough. I don't have. What's up, Shay?
Hey, Shay.
What's up? I second that. Everything that everybody else has been saying. Congrats, and it's well deserved.
Thank you so much. Thank you for hopping on. I appreciate you. I'm gonna need you.
You're welcome. I still remember last year, the first time I came on and read with you, and my son was right there. Whenever, like the next day, and I came in the chat. And he was like, "Oh, Mom," he sounded like he's happy to see you coming to check. And you're like, "Oh, Shay, yeah."
I was very happy. I'm always happy when y'all come in, because I don't got to do 5 and 6 different voices, man. I could just kind of stick into my little area. But y'all are amazing, and y'all are great readers. So I do appreciate y'all.
And I just remembered the last try. I wanted to come help so bad. I just could not get over myself. Like
Really?
I have anxiety, and the older that I've gotten, it's gotten worse. Like this is the first year
Me
that I
too.
started getting treatment for it,
Okay.
and I'm finally starting to feel like myself again. So I'm glad I actually made the plunge to help you guys out.
Yeah, I got like about 30 or 40 YouTube video ideas saved in my phone and typed out and everything, but my anxiety will not allow me to get it out and get it going. There's a lot of good information that people need to know.
Indeed. Well, listen, y'all. Listen, y'all are amazing, man. You know, we got a lot of work to do, right? So I'm gonna have a celebration, but it can't be right now. We just got these transcripts from Friday today, so hopefully everybody who ordered them, I sent them out to you. Check your emails. You should have them for Friday. Now we just got to figure out to get today's, but we're at the end. We're at the end, y'all. We're at the end. So
Right.
it's always awesome to read those closing arguments, though, because that kind of just brings everything in together, right? So we're definitely going to do that. I'm not going to make this a whole long thing as far as names, because I see a lot of people in the chat. So I'm just going to kind of skim. You know what? Let me do this. Hello, everyone.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you,
yes.
everyone, for being here. I won't go through because y'all be like, Atmos, you're going to be here for a whole hour, boy. We here, okay? But thank you for everybody that's here. For all of our new people, I see my sister Whitney DTV in the building. Thank you for coming in. Travis Sloan, Hazel E, West Coast, awesomeness, love. The man of the hour has stepped in the building. What's up, King Johan?
Well, what's up, bro? Man, that's you. Congrats, bro.
Man, you don't know how glad I am to see you come in here.
Nah, man. It's not fair.
What's up, Tony?
Hey,
What's up, boss?
Johan.
Oh, hey, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Y'all ready?
Yeah,
Next
Johan,
week.
Yeah, we're
we're
ready.
glad to see you here too.
Man, listen, man. Listen, man. It's not. Here's the thing about this channel, right? Like this is our channel. Like we grow this together. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all amazing readers. Y'all are the reason why a lot of people come here. Like I have R. Kelly fans that tell me, Atmos, you know, I'm all for R. Kelly, but I come to your channel because it's hard for me to listen to them take little pieces out in little parts and flip it and give us false narratives. I've had R.
Mhm.
Kelly people tell me that.
That's when you know it's good, and you know, and that's what people fail to realize. When you can agree to disagree
Mm-hmm.
as an adult, and it makes a big difference. And also with your channel, you are not, you know, condemning these people. Of course, you know, we would like for them to see that, you know, hey, it's not good because it's kids involved and, you know, stuff like that.
Right.
But you don't have to you know, belittle
Don't
these
gotta
people because of
disrespect
their
nobody. Yeah.
yeah, you don't have to
Right.
disrespect
It's
nobody
like,
to get your point across.
yeah,
Right.
or it's like pretty much it's like, okay, like it's about facts. You know what I mean? And what you can
Yeah,
like really
facts over
what's the
feelings.
truth? Fact, right? And if you still choose, like I can't sit up here and say nothing to nobody that's a, well, I still support them. You know what I'm saying? As far as like free them, as far as saying I'm not gonna say free them. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I'm just saying, you know what I mean? I still like, hey man, I still listen to some of that nigga music, but you know what I mean? I'm not finna say free him. That nigga was a monster. He
Yeah.
was a.
Yeah.
I can't. But I'm not
Right.
go. But I can't condemn that person for
Right.
saying, "Hey, I'm still gonna support him." That's cool. You know what I'm saying? But I just want to know the facts. With knowing the facts, I don't want. You know, a
Right.
person can't say that being uninformed and
Mhm.
Right.
you know what I'm saying, and want to say this and this and that, or don't want to hear the truth. Okay, know the truth and still say, okay, yeah, I'm still gonna stand. Okay, all right, cool. I respect that more.
Yeah. But
I'm
Can
here's
I
the
not
ask
gonna.
a
crazy part. Here's the crazy part. When you know the truth and you still say, yeah, I know he was with little kids, but it's still free R. Kelly.
Something wrong with you.
yeah?
Willfully
Can I ask
ignorant.
a question?
Willfully
Please.
ignorant.
Please do.
Do, do you know if it's been confirmed that the proceeds from like streaming and stuff is going to the victims? Because I keep hearing people say that, but where was that confirmed at?
I heard that the money, the 27,000, there was a motion that came out the other day. And I think what happened is they're freezing the money and putting it into like an interest
Yeah.
building account until they figure out exactly what they're going to do with it or how they're going to put that into I believe what is it? The money for the
140,000. Yeah, because he said he got so much stuff that he got restitution and court fees and all of this and that. That any money that they can find that he has, they're gonna have to divvy it all up, and then they're gonna probably break it down in percentages to do it to where it can be spread out somewhat, in a formal good fashion. But probably 9 times out of 10, the government probably gonna get their money before the victims. That's the sad part about it.
I'm just trying to make sure that that's actually factual because,
But
like I
what
said,
streaming? You talking about YouTube streamers' money?
like anybody listening to his music.
No. Oh, listen, his music. No, that goes to whoever owns his publishing rights. That's not gonna go to the victim. That's gonna go to whoever owns his publishing. If he sold his publishing, from what I heard years ago, and that I've heard that like allegedly Aaliyah's mama owned and stuff, they gonna get that money. No, it's not gonna go to his victims.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, y'all check this out. We're gonna get into this. Thank you, Karen J. I appreciate it. Y'all, hey, listen, y'all. It's so many of y'all in here tonight. I appreciate y'all. I want to shout all y'all out, but it's y'all know I love all y'all. I say y'all names all the time, but we're gonna get to this, so y'all ain't gotta, hear me do that again. Let me share my screen right quick so that here we go. So we're gonna get into this, man. All right, so y'all, we about to get into Derrel Mcdavid is on the stand, right? And so we're going to read. Of course, I'll do in and out. Ladies, if y'all could jump in and out with the Miss Apatine, if you could be. Life is Kindle.
That's my sister, y'all.
Oh, okay.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. How are you?
Good.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on here.
My sister's been pushing me, but I've been scared. So
listen. Now tonight is primarily dominated. Looks like by Alexa. I ain't talking to you. Crazy. We got Ike Nice in the building. Man, we loaded tonight.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
up, so, how you doing, Ike Nice?
I'm good. I'm gonna be in and out. I had to stop by and make sure y'all know I was gonna be around, but I want to say, hey, y'all, what's happening, everybody?
Thank you, brother.
What's
Thank you.
What's happening, yo?
Life is Kindle. It's awesome to have you here. Thank you. I'm not sure, maybe on the crossway. I'll try to squeeze you in when I can. But man, all y'all are awesome, man. I appreciate y'all. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Y'all can chill out. If you need to dip out and dip in, I understand. But if I need you, I will yell your name. Kendall,
okay.
I will call you. I will call you.
Okay.
All right, so check this out. We're gonna go ahead and get started, y'all. We are at the top of 3054. Mr. Brinley, who is being played by King Johan. I am gonna be the judge, and Mr. What's his name? McDavid on the stand. Okay, so we're going to resume. Starting this here is the date of September the 7th, when McDavid is on the stand under a direct examination by his lawyer, Mr. Bo Brinley. We are going to start right now. If you could start at 25, please, King Johan.
It doesn't suggest the answer, Judge. It's just it's just a fair question.
Leading, overruled, but give him latitude in his answers.
Mr. McDavid.
Oh, hold on. I think
yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Brinley.
Mr. McDavid.
Before you get started, I'm sorry. So let's do this. Just so y'all know. So K-Love, if you could play, Shay, you could be Miss Apatine. K-Love, if you could play Miss Judge.
Okay.
CJ, if you could be Jennifer Bonjean. Life is Kindle. Whenever anyone else comes in, it could be it was some other. Who else was in here, y'all? What
Julian. I can be Mr. Julian still.
The law clerk was coming in and out.
The law clerk and stuff like that. Whenever she comes out, that's okay. Life is Kindle,
Yep,
and I'll fit you in. All right, thank you. So everybody got something to do. That's awesome. All right, let's go ahead and roll, brother.
Mr. McDavid. The question was, in terms of if Mr. Kelly, there was something Mr. Kelly wanted to obtain, is it fair to say he would ask you, and then it was up to you to take whatever steps that were necessary to make sure with the finances that he was able to get what he wanted?
Yes. Yes. In other words, he'd say what he wanted. I tried to fit into what he could afford, and he would get it.
All right. Now, would you explain how Mr. Kelly's accounts were set up? We've heard various statements about various kinds of accounts, various checks, all of that. So I want to get down to the first fundamental reality reality of how they were set up. Like so let's start with that. How were the accounts set up for Mr. Kelly's business?
We had a sub chapter, S corporations, with which is basically a tax term. But there was Base Productions, R. Kelly Publishing, R. Kelly Touring, and those were all legal entities.
All right. So what was Bass?
And then I'm sorry.
What was let's break it up a little bit. So what was Bass Productions?
That handled all of his record royalty income. You know, all his production income, all his remix income, royalty income from records.
So and 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 what was the second one you said? So it was Bass Productions, and then there was what?
R. Kelly Publishing.
What's R. Kelly's publishing involved?
That handled all his publishing income. If he wrote a song for someone, he would get paid for that. If he got an advance from a publishing company, that would go there. That would go there. Now, if his songs were played on the radio, that income stream would go there. It is everything that had to do with publishing.
Okay. And then what was the third one?
R. Kelly Touring.
And what did the touring account deal with?
Everything that had to do with touring. If he went on tour, it was recorded in that company. If he had a spot date, which means he did, one-off performance, it would go there.
Now, and was there any other accounts besides those three? Bass Productions, touring, and publishing.
Yes.
What was the other one?
The other one was called the home account.
What was the home account for?
His personal bills, like you have your gas bill, you have your mortgage payments. They were all personal bills. Those are all personal bills. So all of those things were handled through the personal account.
Now, with Mr. Kelly's success, how did your duties change over time? As he became more successful, how did your duties expand? If you can explain that for us.
Well, more money, more problems. As he made more money, there were more things to acquire. There were more things to take care of. The houses got bigger, more expensive. Instead of one car, there would be 3 or 4 cars. Insurance coverage had to be increased. There's a multitude of things.
Now, in terms of when he's touring, for example, what all are your responsibilities as a business manager in dealing with those tours?
Tours were probably the most important thing money-wise. And the reason why is because when you put on a tour, you put on a production. And that production cost a lot of money. You don't, get paid by dates. So if you did 40 dates, you'd get X amount on each date. But the amount of money that you got paid had nothing to do with the amount of money that you spent on the production. So it was very important to keep the cost in line to make sure that we didn't have too many tour buses, to make sure that we didn't have too many employees, to make sure that we didn't have too many lights. That would have been our biggest bone of contention. It's keeping the tours in line with so that he could make a profit.
And did you ever have discussions with, or maybe disagreements with Mr. Kelly about those kind of budgetary restraints or constraints?
We almost got into fights, yes.
And these differences upon opinion, almost getting into fights. What was the nature of those disagreements?
Well, he always wanted everything, all of the fire, all of the spotlights, and the big stages and the huge productions. And it was a constant back and forth drama.
Now, you talked about when you first met Mr. Kelly. Can you describe how your relationship with him changed over time? Like as your role increases, like how does your relationship with Robert change?
It went from a business relationship to a friendship to the one point I'm considered like I consider him like a son.
Now, Mr. McDavid, Robert's personality, you described him as shy, introverted, trying to make it when you first met him. Can you describe how that personality changed with his success?
I knew Robert. Over time, R. Kelly existed.
What do you mean when you say that?
When people get success, in regards to Robert, initially as we got to know each other, he was always joking around and just like, one of the guys, but like you'd have a friend as he started to go superstardom, he started to act like most superstars. He had to have what he wanted. It had to be the way he wanted. When I first met him, he was shy around women. I think you're on mute, Bungie with CJ.
It's not responsive. Oh, wait, Judge, I'm not going to object to this narrative. I'm going to object to this narrative. I'm sorry.
Later on, when he would go to the mall then. Hold on. I'm sorry?
It's not responsive.
Overruled. What kind of ask questions?
Sure. Mr. McDavid, you were talking about when you first met him and he was shy around women. Can you elaborate on how that changed and your observations changed over?
He got more confident, wasn't shy. A couple of times I would go to the mall with him and a crowd of women would surround him. And the younger Robert probably would have been, shy. This Robert, he embraced it.
Okay. Now, as he became a superstar and this, first of all, obviously, Mr. McDavid, this trial has been all about Robert Kelly and women, various women. There's no doubt about that. So I want to ask about that. What did you observe as Robert reaches superstardom? What did you observe about his relationship with women?
Objection, Your Honor. When he says reaches superstardom, we don't know what year, what time frames we're talking about.
Clarify it.
Sure. After the multi-platinum 12 play and Robert starting to reach into superstardom after that time.
Your Honor, it's the same objection. He's not giving any time frame. He's just giving when album was. What year?
We originally established that at one time, but do it one more. So we.
All right. I'll repeat it for the benefit of my colleague on prosecution side. Mr. McDavid, you you said earlier that Robert's success and escalation into superstardom began with the multi-platinum success of 12 play. Do you recall saying that earlier?
Yes.
When was that approximately?
Approximately 1994, 1995.
Okay. So is it fair to say that after that he starts to move into the realm of superstardom?
Absolutely.
So with that time frame, after he started to move into that realm of superstardom, can you explain your observations of his relationships with and interactions with women that you can observe?
The way I observed it was through the fact that he was flying a lot of women in and out of town. I mean, putting a lot of women in hotels. There were just a lot of women.
Okay. And when you talking about women, are you talking about 13-year-olds or 14-year-olds or whatever you talking? They've been talking about all all this time. Are you talking about a lot of grown women?
Yes,
Which?
grown women.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. And so you're saying he's flying women to these hotels. Okay. You're talking about adult women that you're aware of.
Yes, to the best of my knowledge, yes.
Okay. So the testimony and evidence that we heard about is Robert's relationships with particular people that say they were underage. But what I want to ask you now is based on what you are observing and what you are arranging in terms of flights and everything. How was Robert commonly having relationships with multiple women?
Objection, Your Honor. That's the lead and the form of the question.
Overruled.
Was Robert commonly having relationships with multiple women at once?
Just like most superstars, yes.
Okay. Now, did this behavior when he has lots of women coming into the hotels and he's interacting with multiple women like this, did it strike you as particularly uncommon or alarming in light of his status as a music superstar?
Objection.
No.
Again, to the leading, Your Honor.
I don't think that's leading. Overruled.
And when you say no, that it didn't strike you as alarming, can you explain why it didn't?
I was his business manager. I had an office in California. I was familiar with, how a lot of superstars behaved, and his behavior was no different than the other superstar.
Now, you talked about how your relationship with Robert got closer and how your responsibilities for Robert got greater. At after 12 play and his success begins to increase. Can you describe what happened in Robert's relationship with Barry Hankerson, who was his personal manager when you were hired?
Barry was a very unique individual. Barry lived in California. Robert lived in Chicago. The more successful Robert got, the more attention he needed. At the same time, Barry Hankerson had his own agenda, was growing in his own business. So he had less time to divert to Robert. So there was that friction. Also, Barry became very controlling, and
Meaning?
it got to a point that he'd show up at the studio with bodyguards, and it was Robert, in my opinion, that at the time that was a method of intimidation.
And so as this friction grew between Mr. Kelly and Mr. Hankerson, what happened to Mr. Hankerson's influence and his role? Like, okay, let's stick with influence. What happened to Mr. Hankerson's influence over Mr. Kelly's music business?
It decreased.
Okay. Now, what happened to your role as Hankerson's role decreases? What happened to you? What happens to your role?
It increased.
Okay. And can you describe for the jurors, to avoid any problems, do you recall when Barry's relationship with Robert ended?
The exact date, no. But I can tell you the events that led up to it. I can tell you the exact date that he was terminated. Yes, probably.
Oh, when he was terminated. Let's start with that.
Between late 99 and early 2000.
Okay. And can you describe for the jurors the series of events that led to the termination of Barry Hankerson by Robert Kelly?
Approximately sometime in 99, we were in Los Angeles at, I forgot the name of that chicken shack, but it's a famous chicken shack. And we're all having lunch, and Barry walked in with one of his bodyguards. He thought that someone who was at the lunch table was trying to take over Robert's career. So he started screaming, and he flipped over the lunch table that led to Robert and Barry going outside and getting into a fight on the sidewalk.
Okay. And then what happened? After the disagreement between Robert and Barry?
It continued to deteriorate. I want to say, but I'm not positive, but I believe it was at a Philadelphia concert date. Again, around 2000, late 99. I'm not sure. But Barry got in an argument with Jeff Sharp, who was the promoter. And once again, Barry grabbed the table and flipped it over. At that point, Robert looked at me and he said, "I've had enough. Call Jerry Margolis and have Barry," his exact word, "have Barry gone."
Now, you said earlier that, well, let me ask you, I'm not sure if you said it earlier or not. Did your responsibility as business manager include hiring professionals to assist Robert Kelly after he became more successful?
Yes.
What kind of people did you hire?
Lawyers, insurance people, agents, that type of people, those type of people.
Okay. So I'm going to focus on lawyers. When you first began to get a lawyer for Robert, or to engage a Robert, a lawyer for Robert, what kind of lawyer were you looking for?
The best in the business.
What the best in what business?
I'm sorry.
What form of law?
Entertainment.
Okay.
Entertainment business.
And what did entertainment lawyers do, or what did you need an entertainment lawyer for?
Well, just like doctors are specialists, lawyers are specialists. An entertainment lawyer specializes in entertainment. They're experts at doing record deals, renegotiations with record companies, publishing deals, making sure the percentages are correct on the deals, production deals. They just would handle anything that was related to entertainment.
How did you go about selecting an entertainment lawyer for Robert Kelly?
I called Derrel Porter.
And did Mr. Porter make recommendations?
Yes.
Who did he recommend?
He gave me 3 names. I remember Jerry Margolis and Donald Passman.
Which one did you choose?
Jerry Margolis.
Now, can you explain for the jurors who Jerry Margolis was?
He was one of the most well-respected and knowledgeable entertainment lawyers in the country. His client roster, who represented everyone from rest his soul, Robin Williams, to Mick Jagger and Keith Richards of Rolling Stones, and a lot of names in between. I couldn't remember them all.
And so where did you meet Jerry Margolis?
In Chicago at a restaurant.
Can you describe the first meeting and what impressed you about Jerry Margolis?
Well, in Hollywood, most of the lawyers were stuck up, and Jerry was the most unassuming, gentle people that I have ever met. And there was no question that to his knowledge, because of his client base and his reputation. So what got me the most was the fact that he was just down to earth. You know, he was a person that anybody could talk to about anything.
And what was Mr. Margolis going to be doing for Robert Kelly?
He was going to be doing his business, his entertainment lawyer work.
Okay.
Which I already said what that included, I believe.
Okay, so when was Jerry Margolis hired?
Around 1994, I believe.
Did Mr. Margolis have to meet with anybody after he met with you before he was engaged?
Absolutely.
Who was that?
Robert Kelly.
Did Mr. Margolis have to have a meeting with Robert Kelly?
Yes, he did.
Were you there?
Yes, I was.
Where was it?
Where he was always, at the studio.
When you say he was always, you meant Robert.
Yes. Sorry.
That's fine. I understand. Did he express after the meeting with Mr. Kelly what was decided about whether or not Jerry Margolis was the right person for the job?
They clicked right away. Robert said, hire him.
And after the meeting with Robert and talking with Robert, what, if any, concerns did Jerry Margolis express to you about taking the job?
About taking the job?
Yes.
None.
Will you describe your relationship with Jerry Margolis?
It started out as a working relationship. He later became my friend and mentor.
How did that happen? Like, how did he become your mentor? Can you explain?
Because this was one of the smartest people that I knew. I mean, Jerry was always kind. He always had the time to talk to you. And no matter what your situation was, Jerry always had a way of making the pieces fit so that you could understand. I mean, he was obviously smarter than I was, and he was a good person, and I looked up to him.
Do you recall the first time that you ever heard about anyone threatening to file a lawsuit against Mr. Kelly for something related to sexual misconduct?
Yes,
When did that happen?
1997.
Who's the person?
I don't know the nicknames.
No nicknames needed for this one. Mister, you can just say the name. Who was the person in 97?
Tiffany Hawkins.
Okay. How did you find out about it?
Through Mr. Margolis.
Did he call you?
Yes, correct. He called me.
Okay. And what did Mr. Margolis tell you about this situation?
That he received a fax from Susan Loggins claiming that Tiffany Hawkins was pregnant and it was Robert's baby. And that was the initial lawsuit.
That's the initial information you had about the claim?
Yes.
All right. Now, who, if anyone, did Jerry say you needed to contact before taking any further actions or responding in any way?
Robert.
Okay, now, okay, did you then have a conversation with Robert?
I believe Jerry and I were both on a conference call with Robert. Yes.
And what did you ask him, or what did Jerry ask him?
Objection, Your Honor. As to hearsay.
Questions are not hearsay. They are interrogative and do not assert matters.
All right. Why don't you wait for me to rule? I overrule the objection. I don't think that's hearsay.
All right. Very well. Thank you.
I'm confused.
Oh, you're fine.
I think I answered the question.
Well, let me ask you. What did you and Jerry ask Robert?
Is there any truth to this?
Did Robert's answer impact your knowledge and beliefs about the situation and what you decided to do?
Absolutely, they did.
What did he say?
You're on mute.
Objection, Your Honor, as to what he said.
Not.
That's hearsay.
Not for the truth.
What did he say?
Hell no. I'll take a paternity test. This is bullshit.
Okay. And so, in light of Robert's response, what did Jerry indicate you guys are going to do? Going to go do?
He was going to file an injunction to, so that this matter would be stopped. It wouldn't get out to the media. He was going to do an investigation, and that was the initial steps.
Okay, now as you understood it, was some sort of claim or injunction or something along those lines filed by the lawyer?
Absolutely.
Now, did Jerry ask you to engage any other lawyers to assist with this?
Yes.
Who was hired to assist?
John Toohey.
Who was John Toohey? And what kind of work did he do?
He was a prominent commercial attorney in Chicago. He worked at, I don't know the complete name right now, what it is right now, but it was either Mayor Brown and Platt or Mayor Brown and Rowe or Mayor Brown and something, which is one of the largest firms in the country.
So did you hire Mr. Toohey to assist Mr. Margolis?
Per Robert and Jerry's instructions, yes.
Okay, and Mr. Toohey, was he local to Chicago?
Yes.
Was Tiffany Hawkins and her lawsuit, was that here in Chicago?
Yes.
All right. So then, as you understood it, did John Toohey handle that filing about this injunction?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
All right. Now, what was your understanding of what happened to the paternity claim as soon as Tui started filing things in court?
It immediately disappeared.
Okay. And so when the paternity claim essentially withdrawn after Kelly has told you it's bullshit and that he'll take a paternity test and then it's withdrawn, what did that do, or how did that let me rephrase that. What did that do to your thinking about the truth of any claim about Tiffany Hawkins?
That it wasn't true.
Why?
Well, number one, she never went to the police. She was a minor. And, it said that Robert got her pregnant. I mean, you would think that that would be the first thing that you would do. But most importantly, when you file a claim about somebody impregnating you and they say they'll take a paternity test, my first conclusion would be that you'd say, okay, but that didn't happen in this case.
Okay. In this case. Well, let me ask you what happened.
This went away.
And I think you alluded to this a moment ago, but the original claim was about paternity. The paternity element is dropped, and then what happened to the claim?
She filed another lawsuit.
Claiming this time
that she had sex with Robert when she was a minor.
Okay. And that's what you're that's what you're referring to before when you talked about being impregnated by a minor and going to the police, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how did you find out about the change in the claim?
The way I always did, Jerry Margolis.
What was your reaction when you heard this? Like that originally, it's paternity. He says, I'll take that test. It's bullshit. They dropped that paternity and they changed it to something else. How did that? How did you react to hearing that?
Like she was, on some kind of, excuse my word, bullshit. It made me think nothing, she said was true.
Okay, and why is that, Mr. McDavid?
Well, I would think that if you were going to claim that someone had sex with you and when you were a minor, the very first thing that you would do would be go to the police. I mean, you wouldn't ask for money. And more importantly, first, she's pregnant. And now she's not pregnant. And now she's under the age of consent. So the whole thing is just, at that time, in 2007, the whole thing.
2007 to 1997.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm getting my decades confused.
It's a long period of time we've got to talk about in 1997. At that time, how did it impact your thinking?
That there was no truth to it. All right, so what I'm gonna do a little switch out. If you want to, Ike Nice, you got a few minutes?
Yeah, I'm then pulling up the page right now so I can read it from my, off the. You still on one from yesterday that you sent me in the email, right?
Yes, I sent it to you. We're at the top of 3074.
Give me a second.
All right, when you find it, I'll just let me know when you're there.
Okay.
Okay, where we at online? Where we at? Impact your thinking. There's where we at? Showtime. What number?
We right at
I think y'all on 3.
3?
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
Okay.
What page y'all on?
3. No,
30,
30,
74.
74.
That there was no truth to it.
Okay. Now, did you share your feelings with Jerry Margolis?
Absolutely.
And did Jerry's reaction, his response, what he told you intact and intact your belief about civil lawsuits like this one involving claims against celebrities?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor, as to the leading and the form.
A foundation.
Overruled.
And so what did Jerry tell you about these kinds of allegations in the entertainment business?
That he had represented hundreds of superstars, and in the entertainment business, this was very common. You could almost consider it the cost of doing business.
Did he tell you how he was going to handle it?
Yes.
Okay, and how was it going to be handled?
He was going to have her investigated and then probably take a deposition.
And did he give any indication to you about what the end result was going to be? Like all the way back at the beginning when he says this happens every day. This is the cost of doing business in the entertainment industry. Did he tell you right from the start how it was going to end?
You good, Ike Nice? Ike Nice, you here? You're on the mute.
Yeah, give me like 1 minute. I'll be ready. 30. Go ahead. Keep going so I can pick up.
Okay. So going to end. Okay. Well, yes, I had a little discussion about it because it was confusing to me. But he did. He said, I'm going to prove to you this is how it goes.
I'm ready.
And what was going to happen in the end?
All right, go ahead and jump in and be Mr. Mcdavid. Go start at 10. Ike Nice.
Robert would be vindicated. Oh, I'm at 10.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. So Robert would be vindicated. He would, and I would wind up making a settlement.
Okay, so he indicated that he would demonstrate that it wasn't true, but he would still pay. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, and you said that was confusing to you. Can you explain why that was confusing to you?
Well, I mean, because even a rumor of something like this getting out could hurt your client.
That.
Ike Nice, that's you. 20.
Oh, I didn't hear him. Even though it's not true.
Okay. And where did you get that information from, or who told that to you?
Jerry Margolis.
Okay, when he told that to you, how did you react? Or what did it do to your thinking about whether it made sense to pay people even if it wasn't true?
Well, see, it made sense at that point. Again, this man had more experience than I did.
Now, was there ever a disposition, a deposition of Tiffany Hawkins?
Absolutely,
No,
there was.
I had to pause for a second, man. Like that is crazy. Like that don't make sense. Why would it make sense to pay for something if it's not true?
Exactly.
That blew my whole head. That
doesn't make sense at all. He was vindicated, and then he just settled it on out. What?
Yeah. Like why? Why would you keep paying somebody then? Like
no. Become an easy lick if that. Come on,
yeah,
that doesn't sound right. He's stopping the lie.
And here's the thing you gotta think about too, y'all. when you're in business making millions of dollars like that, and someone does come across with a lawsuit, and they say, "Hey, you know what? I'll take $100,000 to go away," and you thinking about I'm making millions. A lot of times people will say, "You know what? It's going to cost me more money to hire a lawyer to fight these allegations than it would for me to just go ahead and pay this person to go away." And that's why a lot of companies do that. Unfortunately,
I've heard that before.
But the problem is that when it becomes every more occurrence, then you doing that just as much as you writing a song. Seem like
Right, and it's like those allegations though is different.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's what makes it the difference though. The allegations, where the charges
worse and worse and worse. And he got loose with it. He was like, oh, for sure, I can just do this. Okay, well, cool.
He learned it from his mother. His mother took money in exchange for his molestation.
My bad, that threw me off.
Yeah.
All right, y'all ready?
All right, I'm starting. Now, was there ever a deposition of Tiffany Hawkins?
Absolutely, there was.
Did you attend it?
Yes, I did.
Why did you attend it?
Because Mr. Mongola said, if you want to see how this goes.
Who was Roberts? Was Barry still Roberts' manager at that time?
Yes, yeah, he was.
Was he there?
Yeah. Yes, he was.
Was John Toohey there?
Yeah, he was.
Who questioned Tiffany Hawkins?
Mr. Mongolis did.
And can you describe what you observed during that deposition that impacted your thinking about these kinds of claims?
After 7 hours, Jerry proved that she was a liar. He caught her in so many lies I couldn't count. So it was proved to me that this was all just somebody trying to get paid.
Okay. And that at the very end of it, after the deposition was concluded, and you said it was pretty obvious that Tiffany Hawkins was lying. What happened at the end of the deposition?
Susan Logan said, "Can I get anything? What can I get?"
Objection, Your Honor. Move to strike that from the record. That is direct hearsay.
All right, I'm gonna switch out real quick. Miss Apatine, I'm gonna switch you out with Life is Kindle. Give her a chance to read. So whenever Life is Kindle come in, whenever Miss Apatine
she sleep, Atmos. She sleep. Yeah, I was trying to tell you she fell asleep.
Oh, okay. I'll let her sleep. She taking Tanya with the tea place.
God, yes, she's one of those. She can fall asleep anywhere, anytime.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been like that my whole life too.
Okay. Well, I don't want y'all to fall asleep. So Caleb, jump in as Miss Apatine, and you'll switch out with her as Miss. You Miss Judge right now, right, Caleb?
Yeah.
Okay, so switch out with her, Shay on Miss Judge. So you'll do Miss Apatine now.
Okay, she already read 6 and 7, right?
Indeed.
Okay.
Showtime.
Those are questions.
It's not hearsay. If it's just a statement, I don't see. It's for the truth. The only truth was, did she say it or didn't she say it? Not whether it was true or not. So, overruled.
You said she said. What can I get? You said she said, what can I get? And then what happened?
But Jerry said, I give you 250,000 nuances money.
What was the claim for? He said, I'll give you 250. At the end of the deposition, after it's apparent she's lying, what was the claim originally for?
You mean how much money she asked for?
Yes.
$10 million.
So does the fact that it went from 10 million to 250 after she's been questioned by Mr. Margolis, did the fact have any impact on your belief about whether there was any truth to any to these kinds of claims brought against Mr. Kelly?
Absolutely, it did.
And what did it make you think? At least in terms of this claim.
That is not that it wasn't. It just wasn't true.
Okay, and why did the fact that they went from 10 million to 250 have the impact on you or led you to that conclusion?
Well, if she was telling the truth and had a legitimate story, you don't go from 10 million to $250,000.
So at that point, Mr. McDavid, how did the experience of seeing the Tiffany Hawkins lawsuit through like that along with Mr. Margolis, how did that experience impact your thinking about people who make these kinds of civil claims against superstars like Robert and come asking for money?
They're not true.
And why do you believe that?
Because this young lady in let's see, 1997 told so many different stories and so many different lies. It was obvious that something was wrong. And most importantly, Jerry Mongola said, quote, unquote, this is the way it goes. And he proved that to me.
Now I'm going to ask you a general question, Mr. McDavid, without getting into the details of any particular thing. I want to make sure you give a general answer and don't get into any specific details, okay?
Okay. Yes, sir.
All right. After Tiffany Hawkins' allegations and the settlement of her lawsuit, did Susan Loggins bring other allegations on behalf of other people?
Yes, she did.
Okay. And without getting into any specifics, in general terms, was there anything notable about him?
Yeah.
What?
I called them cookie cutters.
Wow. Why?
Because they was pretty much, from what I could recall, identical. It was young ladies making the same claim. They all were very similar in nature.
Okay. And how did the fact that they all came from the same lawyer? Keep in mind, you've seen Tiffany Hawkins, which you knew to be oblivious, obviously not true. How did the fact that then the same lawyer was bringing very similar lawsuits for multiple persons, just like Tiffany's? How did that impact your thinking about truthfulness of these things in general?
Well, at that time, my position was they weren't true.
Okay, and what, if anything else, did Susan Loggins do that you could observe that caused you to doubt the sincerity of any claim she brought against Robert by people seeking his money?
Man, this girl put up billboards on the expressway. She had commercials running on TV.
Saying what?
I don't. It's been so long ago. The specifics I don't recall, but it was basically if you need to sue R. Kelly, I'm the person to call. I'm just paraphrasing.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but who has these commercials? I need to see this.
For real, I want to say, for real, I was thinking like I've never seen these commercials, and I think I am entitled to see them just because I am a puppet.
They were on Surviving R. Kelly.
That is public. That is public knowledge. I
Well,
want to see that.
the one up there
Ooh.
was just like, if you need someone to fight for you, I'll be there or something like that. I didn't see nothing saying, yeah, if you need to sue R. Kelly, I'm your girl. I didn't see that.
But it's very interesting how they're trying to pull the reverse Uno card right now, knowing that they were in cahoots with Susan Loggins, but then just throw her under the bus. You know?
Right.
They should have got Susan Loggins on that damn stand. I
Oh
don't.
my
Yeah,
God.
that's what I was
Would
saying.
have called her.
Oh,
She needs to
Man, I
be
was-
disbarred. Something needs to happen to her.
yeah, yeah.
Well, when you think
Yeah.
about it, the defense wouldn't have called her, and pretty much anything she's gonna say is gonna be attorney.
A lie.
But here's what I think happened, and I think it comes out a little later. You know, allegedly. Let me say allegedly. Allegedly, Susan Loggins was in cahoots with R. Kelly, and they was doing this on purpose. They would go to her whenever these allegations would come up, and she would pretty much always hit them with little money just to get them to go away.
I'm
That's
not
what they're
surprised.
pulling the
He's
reverse.
in the enterprise too.
They're acting
Right, she part of it too, though.
But if you think about it, that helped him. But if he sprinkle in some fake ones in there with the
Of
real
course.
ones, because that makes him look like he's more credible. So
Right.
yeah, if you
Right,
get a
there
dirty
you go.
He's
lawyer.
changing the dates and stuff on the
Yep.
document.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Makes
Yep.
that was
sense.
like you get a dirty
Yeah.
lawyer
Right.
that's doing that,
There
and
you
she's
go.
still
They
getting her
are.
money. So she getting her palm greased, and she getting notoriety, looking like she
Right.
really poor
And
victims
she
and
getting
stuff, and
them.
people coming
Yep.
to them, and she victimizing them more by doing
And
this.
see, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all. As much as, and this is the part where people say, "Well, Atmos," you know, as much as I'm against what R. Kelly has been proven to have done,
Mhm.
I don't like the lies that I mean, there was this. It's uncalled for. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, he do enough. You don't have to lie on him.
like
Right, that's what I'm saying. He done enough. You ain't got to lie.
there was enough truth that he's done, and he's videotaped himself. You ain't got to do stupid lie on the man. I hate that.
I hate that too, for real.
It's not.
Yeah. So
Get him for what he did, not for stuff he didn't do. I don't want nobody to go down for nothing that they didn't do, but everything
Right.
he did to do, then he needs to be
Right,
accountable for
right,
that.
right. I agree.
Right, and I agree with that, and I'm like Atmos, you know, don't lie on them. Don't just lie just to be lying. You know what I'm saying?
I got sons
And-
and brothers, a daddy, and everything, and I don't
And
want nobody.
if you're just gonna lie, then I feel like, you know, he shouldn't be the only one being held accountable for the lies.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Team of people that brought it in. Lock Susan Logan's up. Lock her ass up too.
Yeah, lock her up, lock Lisa up, lock everybody that's been lying the whole time and trying to get them. All of them need to be locked up. Nope. All that old, you got immunity? Nah. All y'all need to go to jail right along with him because y'all was with it for the money.
But you got to realize,
I don't think you should have the ability to get the money and then lock him up and then you stay free and you know you lied.
But see, here's the thing: you got to realize with the immunity, they do that as a way of, you know, they got to.
I understand that. I understand that, but I'm saying, you know, if you're gonna
They
lock
won't
him
have
up,
nobody testify that make their case not as strong. That's the whole reason why they have to give it up like that.
Right.
Trust me.
Yeah,
If
but
they
you
only
get up
give it
there,
out what they
and
have
tell
to.
all them lies, then hey, that's when you need to be locked up for.
That's
Well,
part
isn't
of
it
it. If
still
they
like
prove that you lied, yeah, you can go for perjury.
Yeah, there's still like a thing
Yeah.
for perjury. They can still get you for
Immunity don't
perjury.
get
We all know that a bunch of them been up there lying. That's got immunity.
I gotta be honest.
I ain't sit.
I don't like the way that his ex-wife been out there doing do it like your leg shake to your leg shake.
Absolutely.
That is so. I was like, when I seen it, I was like, "Are you serious?
Why is she gyrating
What?
to his music?
Right. First off, I was like, can somebody check on her and make sure she okay? Because she could have been stroking it. I don't know what was going
I
on.
haven't seen it, but honey, Lord,
It was cool.
Yeah, she been
Look,
cutting up for
she
real.
was cutting up. Like, but why would you do that to that song? Why would you do that to his music? Though?
Right.
That's the whole point about it.
Other songs to dance to.
Right. All these songs.
She could have danced to "I'm a Survivor" or something like that.
Thank
you.
But why the hell you dancing to the Love Taking
It's
song? The one
popular.
time she was
It's
in the
going
concert or
around
something.
on
That's my
Instagram
baby
right
daddy.
now. But still,
That's like, man, that's dirt. I don't.
I didn't like when they put it on the Shade Room.
Nah,
They
Yeah,
put-
It's not. It's not
Wow.
cool. It's not cool.
I don't follow none of this, so I didn't know. But she out of pocket. I'm about to go follow that. 'Cause I'm gonna go see
Yeah,
You
that.
will
there's a
end up
whole
seeing
thing
it
going
on the
around where they
short or
use that
something.
song, leg
Yeah,
shaking or whatever it's called.
right. It was on the what was it? The Untitled album, I think.
I
That's
think it was
sad.
TP. I think it was TP too.
Nah, it was Untitled, I believe
Okay.
so.
And
Yeah,
that's the thing. That's the thing about this channel is we're not victim bashing, but we will tell the truth.
yeah.
The truth is, you're allowed to have your opinion if you feel like something was like you don't understand or you're confused. Like I'm just confused as to the way she's been carrying herself while he's going through this trial. Like you would think that she would get close to her kids and be like, "Look, y'all, we're gonna get through this together." But to be out there in public just dancing all gyrating crazy to his music, it's like
And see, and that's
And,
a
and,
and
and
that's a
then you want to portray yourself a victim. Come
right,
on, man.
I mean, don't,
and
don't
see,
get me wrong. She is a victim. She is a
right.
victim. I believe he did everything that they say he did. But
Right,
but you don't. Yeah, it's your reaction to it. But she is a victim. All the women are victims of his. I believe he did what they say he did.
And
All
and
the
and
stuff.
remember, it was some boys too. It was
It was
some boys.
she's a victim and a predator because she was with that girl too. So
I
you
saw
can't.
I
So
just saw where
I ain't gonna just let her. I ain't just gonna let her hold the victim title by herself because she's a predator right along with him because she was doing what he said and she was wrong.
Yeah,
I just saw
she
where
did something.
Davis put it in the chat where it's Stockholm. I don't
Stock. That's why I said some of that is
well, here's
Stockholm
the thing,
syndrome. Yeah,
like, okay, that
with
is a
Joycelyn.
thing.
Yeah,
That is a thing, but with Drea and right now where we're at and knowing this trial is going on, it's not a good look.
And she's been
no,
putting out too many videos talking about how she's overcome and all these women groups for her to still be talking about Stockholm syndrome. I think
right. It's you
she done
double.
moved on. Like it's not now. I understand like people like it's a lot of
Joy.
the victims out there that's really still going through. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, like the one that even got up there and testified. I feel bad for them. They said that they still love him.
Right now,
That's
them,
a
yeah, that's
problem.
if you still talking like that at this point, yeah, something ain't quite right.
Bless their heart. I feel so bad for them. And it's got to be hard for them to even go on and even have husbands and stuff like that. That put a strain on your relationship.
Yeah. All right, let's go with it, y'all. So y'all know we can sit here and talk about this.
Okay, we'll be here
Yeah.
next year and still talking about it.
I know. All right, I'll let y'all go ahead.
All right, where we at? Yeah, we're at 15.
Just
All right,
started.
we just started 15. Why did you think that?
Because you got somebody that's pretty much opening up and feeding a frenzy for anybody that wants to come after this man. You got somebody that's actually saying, if you want to sue him, come and call me, and that's to me amazing. It's not the word I would use.
Okay, so did Jerry handle all of these lawsuits?
Yes, him and John Towdy, I think his name is.
Tui.
Tootie. Okay, and so after seeing how things went with Tiffany Hawkins and being involved in the details of that one, when these other civil claims were handled, can you describe how they were handled?
Let me see how they were handled. Let's see. Pretty, pretty much Jerry, John, and Loggins would handle them. I wasn't involved for the most part.
What did you do?
I just wrote checks.
Okay, and so with respect to the after the first of them, where you saw how things work and were told by Mr. Margolis, this stuff isn't true, but this is what happens. After that experience, when one of these claims came in, would you consult Mr. Margolis about them?
I'm sure there was a phone call where he told me that there was a claim, but I did. I didn't get into the details. No, I didn't.
And was the process in terms of, regardless of allegations, was the process of these claims basically the same, ending in settlement?
Yep. Yes.
Now, we have heard evidence in this case indicating that large amounts of money were paid in various settlements. But what I want to ask you in this business, in his business, ask you as his business manager,
Mhm.
in the context of Mr. Kelly's career and how much he was making, how significant was the amount of money being spent on these settlements, which Mr. Margolis described as the cost of doing business in the entertainment industry?
It was not.
When you say it was not, can you elaborate?
Well, in comparison to Mr. Kelly was making, in comparison to what he was making at the time, these payments were relatively insignificant.
Now, in the terms of the settlement amounts, would be who who communicated that to you?
Uh, Jerry Mongolis.
And after watching how things had gone with Hawkins and seeing what he did you ever really seriously question or question at all Mr. Margolis about what the settlements would be or how they were calculated?
No, this was not a big part of my function. It's not what I was doing at the time. I was handling Rob's businesses.
Okay, so did Jerry ever talk to you about his feelings about all of these similar lawsuits being brought by Susan Loggins?
Yeah.
Where did Jerry's comments to you on this subject impact your belief about the truthfulness of people who made civil claims of money against Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
All right. What did Jerry tell you about his view of these claims?
That they was all bullshit. He had never seen anything like. I mean, this. I mean, he had never seen anything like this before, where the same lawyers kept coming back and making similar claims and putting up billboards and TV commercials. He said that, and superstars do get sued often, but this was just quite interesting, man.
And how did that impact what Jerry said? How did that impact your thinking about whether the truthfulness of claims made by people not going to police but just coming for money with civil allegations against Robert Kelly?
Made me believe it wasn't true.
So other than the nuisance expense or nuisances and expenses, were these civil claims something that at the time you were particularly worried about?
No.
In terms of the civil claims and your conversations with Mr. Margolis, what was the most important thing about? What is the most important thing that was to be solved by providing the settlement money?
Well, the fact that Robert's career wouldn't be interfered by frivolous claims.
Frivolous claims that would come out of where?
In the media. In the media. Robert would be, Jerry was always concerned about the media. False claims can hurt clients in the music industry or probably in any other industry for that matter.
Did Jerry hire anyone to assist with the investigation that was made into Tiffany Hawkins and then subsequent claims?
Absolutely.
Who did he hire?
Jack Palladino,
Who was Jack Palladino?
a private detective.
Okay. And what was
And and a lawyer.
I'm sorry. What was your understanding of Mr. Palladino's reputation at the time that he was engaged?
Well, he was considered to be one of the top investigators in the country. His client roster was Kevin Costner, Robin Williams, President Clinton. It's too long for me to even try to remember all them names.
Did you meet Jack Palladino
Yeah, I did.
back in before he began to investigate Tiffany Hawkins in 1997? Did you meet him?
No, I met. I believe that was when it was the Tiffany Hawkins thing.
That's when you met him?
Yes,
Okay. And where did you meet him?
I believe we had dinner at Carmen's in Chicago on Rush Street.
Can you describe that meeting and describe Jack Palladino and what stood out to him? What stood out? I'm sorry. Can you describe that meeting
Mm.
and describe Mr. Palladino and what stood out about him at that meeting?
Well, he was like one of the detectives that you snatch out of a movie. He walked in a long black leather trench coat with a fedora, cased the room, and we sat down and started to talk. It was very obvious that after the first 10 minutes that Jack was excruciatingly concerned with details and making sure that he had all the facts right. At the same time, he was unassuming, good conversationalist. Told me about the time he brought down the tobacco industry and a couple other cases, and that was about it.
Were you convinced that hiring him was a good idea and Jerry was right?
I always tried to hire the best, the best, and yeah, I did.
Now you said that Jack was initially brought in to help with which investigation? Like was it Tiffany Hawkins?
Yes.
All right. So was there anything, what if anything, about Jack's investigation into the initiation of the Hawkins lawsuit, like and how she was connected with Susan Loggins that cast doubt on the truthfulness of these Loggins civil claims?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what did you learn from Mr. Palladino's investigation that impacted your thinking about the truthfulness of these claims?
Well, that she had been contacted by Demetrius Smith, who wanted to connect her up with Susan Loggins. Yeah.
Okay, so let's start right there. Jack Palladino is the source of this information.
Yeah, he's the one. He's that one. Yeah.
Okay, how did you find out about it?
Jerry Mongola sent me the report.
Now, Demetrius Smith being the one who referred Susan Hawkins to or tried to connect Susan Hawkins. I'm sorry. Susan, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Demetrius Smith being the one who was connecting Tiffany Hawkins and Susan Loggins. Why was that significant to you in terms of the believability of any of those Loggins claims?
Well, see, Demetrius had been one of Robert's closest friends for decades. See, the problem with Demetrius is he lied, he stole, couldn't be trusted. A lot of times, Robert would catch him stealing, or I'd catch him stealing. Robert would actually just give him a raise. But it got to a point that the relationship was unrepairable, and then Robert fired Demetrius, and that didn't even and then that didn't end well because Demetrius felt he was owed 5% of Robert's income, and he didn't get that.
Okay, so was there an antagonistic relationship between Demetrius Smith and Robert Kelly after Demetrius was fired?
Yes, absolutely.
And when you found out that this was the guy, Demetrius Smith, that was trying to take Tiffany and Tiffany Hawkins to Susan Loggins, how did that impact your view of this whole Susan Loggins civil claim situation?
It made it dirty. It made it feel. I mean, it made it feel like it was a miss that this was a money grab.
Okay, now Jack Palladino continued to do investigations for Robert Kelly after the Tiffany Hawkins incident.
Absolutely.
Are you aware of the interviews that Jack Palladino did with the women by the name of Asti Watkins?
Yes, I am.
Okay, how did you find out about those interviews?
Jerry, Jerry Mongolis.
And do you recall when those interviews were done?
Oh, like early 2000s.
Does January of 2001 sound about right to you?
Yes.
And you said that Mr. Margolis contacted you. Did he send you anything regarding these interviews that Jack Palladino did with Miss Watkins?
Yep.
What did he send you?
A report.
Did he send you documents, reports documenting Jack's interviews with Tiffany?
Yes.
Not Tiffany, Steve Watkins.
Yeah.
Okay, did you review them?
I did.
And Mr. McDavid, did what you read in those reports from Mr. Palladino significantly impact your beliefs about whether the women making claims about having underage sex with Mr. Kelly were telling the truth?
It absolutely did.
Okay, Judge, do you want to take a lunch break? We're about ready to get into.
Yes, we'll suspend until 2 o'clock.
If you could read that for me, please.
Judith A. Walsh.
Hold on, one of the ladies. Let me do. Well, CJ, can you read that for me? The certificate. CJ,
I got it, Atmos. I don't.
Okay, go ahead.
I, Judith A. Walsh, do hereby certify that the foregoing is a complete, true, and accurate transcript of the proceedings had in the above entitled case before the Honorable Harry D. Lennon Weber, one of the judges as of said court at Chicago, Illinois, on September 7th, 2022.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we're about to come back in. This is the afternoon session. And we are starting right here at the top of 3091. Proceedings in open court. Jury is out.
I was furnished a copy of the unsigned complaint. And I guess the question is, if allowed, which items particularly against count 3 would the government think about using on cross-examination? Let me see, Miss Apperting.
CJ, you're on mute. Are you there?
I'm here.
Can you read Miss Apperting, please?
Sure. Well, Your Honor, at the outset, we would say that it's going to depend a little bit on what this continued direct examination is going to show. But at minimum, there are some lawsuits that at least one of which I believe defendant has already made reference to that are not noted in here in terms of lawsuits by Susan Loggins' firm. So some of those are in here. That's if you start looking at paragraph 38, that first bullet point. Additionally, Your Honor, there are allegations that start in paragraph 44.
44. What I mean, I don't see any. Well, the fact is domestic problems. What relevance would that have? Is that what you're talking about? A meeting with a criminal defense team?
Yes, Your Honor. So if we start starting with paragraph 44E, F, G, H, I, J. Hold on.
would copyright infringement cases be relevant?
Not Jay. Sorry.
Mr. Brownlee, do you have anything you want to say here?
And Judge, the other thing that's difficult here, if the government is suggesting they only want to go into G through K, certainly Mr. McDavid is going to have to go through. I mean, he wants to be able to go through the rest to show that G through K is not all that he was doing. We can't have it redacted such that the only things here are the ones that reference the criminal case. In fact, if we have to testify about it, his point is that most of this has nothing to do with the criminal case.
And to be clear, Your Honor, the government is not seeking to introduce this document into evidence. We are intending to question.
I understand. Which incident that was? I was prepared.
Yes.
Well, we'll make a 403 evaluation. So I need to know which ones, if unfeathered, you would go into so I can make a 403 evaluation.
Yes, Your Honor. They're the ones that I just mentioned previously. I'm looking at paragraph 44E.
44?
Yes, Your Honor. On page 12.
You said paragraph E?
Sorry, 44, paragraph 44.
Yeah.
And if you look down into the paragraph, it has a number. I'm sorry, not numbers, but letters beginning with A. We're not looking at A, so I'm starting with E. It's about 5 or 6 lines down.
Helping Kelly fight for visitation rights for his kids.
E was on call 24 hours a day. G, between 2002 and 2008, met multiple times per week with R. Kelly's criminal defense team in connection with child solicitation pornography case. Appeared with counsel in court over 100 times as Kelly's personal representative. H. J, which he's already discussed some of those lawsuits.
Miss Bonjean.
Yeah, but the devil is in the details there, Judge. Like the multiple civil lawsuits Mr. McDavid testified about with the Hawkins lawsuit, that is fine, I guess. You know, we object, of course, to any other bad act evidence, but if they believe it opens the door to all the civil lawsuits and the details contained therein lies the problem.
No. Oh, I'm trying to figure out which ones, they want to go. So now I have, what was it, A? No.
E.
Help Kelly fight for, no, not B.
E as
an
in
Edward. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
E as in effort. Oh, okay. Called on 24 hours a day. Handled disgruntled. No. Which one?
G.
G met with criminal defense team. All right. H. Hired criminal lawyers. And what, J?
J.
Helped resolve multiple civil assault cases without Louisiana.
No, Your Honor, we're not getting into that.
Is that it?
One moment, Your Honor.
Oh, it's pretty well gone into.
There was another one. I just mentioned it when we sat down.
Judge, go ahead.
Paragraph 38.
38? Just a second. Let me get it.
The first bullet point is the lawsuit of Nia's lawsuit in this case.
It doesn't say that.
It does not. It doesn't say that.
I don't know how they know that. they're just saying that's they're just saying that's the only. If the government has information to say that's the only claim he settled for 500,000.
We do. It's in the packet. In the
What? Hold on. Wait a minute. We're talking about first bullet point under paragraph 38.
Yes, Your Honor.
The company helped settle a lawsuit filed by a woman that she had been harmed by offensive contact with Kelly. I mean, that's basically Hawkins or whatever her name is, I guess.
That one is not Hawkins. They're talking about someone else.
No, but it may or it may not be, but it's the same thing because there is no time on the allegation.
It's a different amount of money, but
Yes.
All right, all right. What else? So we can get this over with quickly. So the first bullet point on 38.
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything else?
Yes, in paragraph 48.
48. 4, 8.
Yes, he was seeking 5 million. That he was seeking 5 million in damages.
Just a minute. Paragraph 48 is just defendant's retention had benefits for which the company was never paid, violates the fundamental principles of justice and equity. That one?
No, Your Honor. The clause below that, the wherefore that that he was seeking company or in the company an amount to be determined at trial, but in no event less than 5 million.
Do you want to put that in? What he wants, 5 million?
Your Honor, we're intending to ask him about that.
Well, the Ed, damn, never much anything other than jurisdictional amounts. So I'll keep that one out.
Right. Yeah, that part I appreciate. The problem is, Judge, with the government want to piecemeal this. If they want to say, well, Mr. McDavid, in your complaint, you said, and refer only to the parts that have the same connection to the rulings.
Well, I haven't ruled on any of these yet. I'm just saying I'll find which ones they want to do.
I know. The difficulty I'm having is if they want to pick and choose certain pieces, then I think we have to put in the totality so we can show he didn't just do that. He didn't do all of this stuff. It's my view that none of this third count should come in because I think the prejudicial impact is substantial. But if they're going to be able to question on certain ones of these, I think Mr. McDavid has the right to say, well, it's not just that. I did all the rest of this stuff too, and I told him about that, and so I think that
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to. Well, you need to know, don't you?
before I get to the point,
Yeah.
which is still a ways off, a good long ways off.
All right. Well, let me just take a look. Well, 24 hours a day. He hasn't said that he indicates he was.
I don't think we have any problem with that if they just want to ask him that. But if
Well, they met with the criminal defense team.
yeah, he's gonna say that he did that.
Yeah. So, well, that one, they can get into.
They could ask him about the fact, Judge. My concern is that they're going to ask him, well, in your complaint, you said this. And if they bring up this complaint as the source for that, then we have to bring in all the other things that he did too. So that
Well, they would only bring the
They can ask him about the fact of it, sure.
If he denies it, then, they could point out that in a paragraph rather than admit the document as substantive evidence, as an admission. That they can go into that, and, that he said that in the complaint, if he denies it.
Yeah, he's not going to deny that.
We'll handle it that way.
That's fine.
I think that, yeah, I mean,
So, unless he denies something, the complaint, count 3 of the complaint, will not be referenced by the government.
No, Your Honor, we're not saying we're not referencing this draft.
only reference the complaint if he needs to be impeached.
Okay.
No, Your Honor.
If he denies something in the complaint that I have authorized you to go into, then obviously you can say you filed or you didn't file it. But you authorized the drafting of a complaint that said the opposite, and read it to him. We'll do it that way.
Your Honor.
All right?
Just to be clear, you're making a ruling as to whether or not we can even discuss on cross-examination the fact that a draft complaint preceded his lawsuit?
Yes, I am.
The lawsuit that is within evidence.
Keep that out, unless for impeachment purposes. So I'll let them do it that way because it is the delicate problem, 403 and all that with Kelly. So we'll do it that way. All right, let's get the jury in. We'll get going. Another 20 minutes. Do it.
Jury is in.
Please be seated. Mr. Brinley, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Derrel M. Mcdavid, a defendant herein, previously sworn. Direct examination resumed.
Mr. McDavid, just to take a step back and reorient ourselves with where we were.
Mm-hmm.
Who is it that you said Mr. Palladino identified as the person who introduced Tiffany Hawkins to Susan Lyons?
That would be Demetrius Smith.
Okay. And then you said that in January of 2001, you received reports of interviews that Jack Palladino did with someone named Steve Watkins. Do you recall that?
Yeah, yes, sir.
And did the reports that you received from Mr. Margolis prepared by Mr. Palladino, did those impact your beliefs about whether people making allegations of underage sex with Mr. Kelly were being truthful or not?
Yes.
I'm going to direct your attention, Mr. McDavid, in the binder in front of you to Defense Exhibits 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like you to take a look at those.
1, 2, and 3?
Yes.
You don't need me to read the whole thing, right?
No, you reviewed these prior to testimony. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now, Exhibits 1, 2, and 3. Do you recognize all 3 of those?
Yes.
And were all 3 of those provided to you by Gary Margolis?
Yes, sir.
All 3 of those documents authored by Jack Palladino?
Yes.
And Mr. McDavid, did all 3 of these documents, when you reviewed them, let me ask you this. Did you review them at or around the time that they were created in January of 2001?
Yes, sir.
And did these exhibits 1, 2, and 3 impact your beliefs? Did their content impact your beliefs about whether the people making underage sex claims about Robert Kelly was telling the truth or lying?
Yes, sir.
All right. At this time, Judge, I would ask to admit into evidence defense exhibits 1, 2, 3 for the impact they had on Mr. McDavid.
Your Honor, the government objects for the reasons we stated. May we have a sidebar to discuss per your ruling?
Showtime, how your voice? You need a break?
A little bit.
Okay, take a break. I'll jump in as Mr. Brindley. Take a little break.
All right, quickly.
Proceedings at sidebar on the record. So we had a little sidebar. You see, they had a lot to talk about. It is all redacted. Wow.
A lot.
I guess there are
Defense exhibits 1, 2, and 3 were received in evidence. Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge, we'll address it at a sidebar later. It's fine.
If I can get the document camera, please. Mr. McDavid, I'm going to draw your attention to Defendant's Exhibit McDavid 1. Is this one of the reports that you received from Jerry Margolis that was authored by Jack Palladino?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And is this regarding interviews that Jack did of Ati Watkins on or about January 19th of 2001?
Yes, sir.
And does Mr. Margolis' name appear here as one of the people that received this from Jack Palladino?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, so I want to direct your attention to some certain portions of what you read in that report prepared by Mr. Palladino about the interviews with Ms. Watkins. If I could draw your attention to the yellow portion that's highlighted here on page 1 of McDavid Exhibit 1, it reads, Watkins asked Demetrius what General had told him about a relationship with RK, Robert Kelly. And when it had become sexually intimate, ultimately, and pointing your attention to this sentence highlighted in yellow, Watkins then told Demetrius that she had not been sexually intimate with R. Kelly until after her 18th birthday. She then told Demetrius, if you want me to, I could say it never happened. I still have the plane tickets if you're still going to give me the $12,000. I could say it happened earlier. Moving on to the second page, Watkins told us that Demetrius was fine with it right off, and he hardly paused before asking her, would you be fine saying that? So the paragraphs first, Mr. McDavid, when you found out that someone had told Demetrius Smith that she hadn't had sex with Kelly before she was 18, but she would lie about it to get $12,000, and he was fine with that. How did that impact your thinking about whether people that were making these underage sex claims about Mr. Kelly were honest?
Now, see, it impacted my mind to the extent that I believe that they weren't honest. People were now being offered to be paid to lie, and she said she would do it. Apparently.
Okay, so if we continue on, Ms. Watkins reported to Mr. Palladino that she told Demetrius that she would as long as she was paid. Demetrius then asked Ms. Watkins whether she had engaged in any sexually intimate act with Robert Kelly before she turned 18. He specifically asked about oral sex, which she denied. It then goes on to say a few minutes later, Demetrius telephoned Watkins and told her he has spoken with the attorney, and the attorney is fine with it. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Now, what is this? Okay, so when you found out that money had been offered to someone to say something about underage sex with Kelly that wasn't true, and now there was an attorney who was fine with it, how does that impact your view of all of these kinds of allegations about, that people were coming at Mr. Kelly with for money.
That they were all false.
Okay. We continue down. It reads, Demetrius also told Watkins that she should file a police report with the Orlando Police Department the next day. If indeed she needed help, he would go to the Orlando and help her complete the report. He suggested that she include in the report that she and Robert Kelly had engaged in oral sex, and that Robert Kelly had talked up these dreams that he had fondled her. After filing the report, Demetrius told her that he would give her $10,000. Watkins told Demetrius that she wanted to speak with the unnamed attorney, etc. So sticking with just the yellow part here, he offered to go there after she tells him that none of this is true. Then she told Palladino that Smith offered to go to Orlando to help her complete a false police report. What was your reaction to reading that in terms of your thinking about this entire situation?
That this was a setup by Demetrius Smith to get ST to lie. And it made me believe that none of these allegations could be true.
And this is the same Demetrius Smith that took Tiffany Hawkins to Susie Lockers. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, here at the bottom in yellow of Exhibit 1, it says, we advised Watkins to take the attorney's call and tell him the truth about her relationship with Robert Kelly and her willingness to say whatever the attorney wanted as long as she got paid. Less than an hour later, moving to page 3, Watkins called us again. She had just finished a 3-way call with Demetrius and an unnamed attorney who was patched in with Demetrius through a call feature. Watkins told us that the attorney did not give his name, but hold on. The attorney did not give his name, but she could tell he was black. Okay. And then in the yellow, it says, I told him I wanted to make sure that Demetrius told him about my age. And he understood that I didn't have sex with Robert Kelly until I was 18. But I would say whatever they wanted me to if they pay me. He did say it was up to me. And if I do go ahead with it, they'll go along with it. That's fucked up. Oh
yeah,
that's messed up, man. The guy said that he could make sure that I got paid, but they said I would have to go tomorrow. So when you read about the things that Jack Palladino had been told by Ms. Watkins in Defendant's Exhibit 1 after you had seen that, did that significantly impact your opinion about the likelihood that these allegations will be falsified on purpose?
Yes.
And if you could explain for the jury now how it impacted your opinion.
Well, first I had to deal with the Tiffany Hawkins situation, which I saw with my own eyes. Now, you had an allegation, an alleged witness that is willing to lie for money and is being provoked to do that by Demetrius Smith, who I know hates Robert at this point. So at this point, the two interactions that I've had both suggest the fact that they not true.
Now, if I could turn your attention to Defendant's Exhibit number 2. Is this was a follow-up that occurred in April of 2000 that you received in April of 2000. Do you recall receiving this from Mr. Margolis as a follow-up?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is again Jack Palladino following up on these claims with Ms. Watkins, right? Correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And in Defendant's Exhibit number 2, does it indicate, first of all, that Mr. Palladino indicates that Watkins informed the client that Mr. Kelly and subsequently Jack Palladino that she had been contacted and offered money in an effort to subjourn perjury and bring a false tort action against Robert Kelly. Watkins was contacted by Demetrius Smith, a 40-ish former Kelly hanger-on, subsequently revealed to be in the employ of Kelly's former manager, Barry Hankerson. Now, right there, when you found out that Demetrius, while he's offering this money, is in the employment of Barry Hankerson, how did that impact your view of these kinds of claims in this situation?
Oh, it raised a lot of red flags.
Why?
Because because Barry hated Robert and would do anything he could to destroy Robert. So the fact that he's behind this and offering money, there is no way I could believe this was true.
You know what, y'all? This is why we read the damn transcripts.
Mm-hmm.
Because, one thing about me and about people that rock with me, if we see some crap that looks shady and that's messed up, we're going to speak on it. No matter how we feel about the victims. When we see something that look crazy, we're going to say that's wrong.
That's right.
You got to call it out.
You got to call it out. This right here,
this
right here is messed up.
Yep.
All the way. I don't like it at all.
I don't give a damn how much I support the victims. This right here, Demetrius Smith ass need to be in jail.
Yes, he does.
Ain't he the barber?
He was the tour manager.
But wasn't he a barber at one point or something?
No, he wasn't no barber. But didn't he get one of them young girls
tattoos
pregnant
or
too?
something?
He got one of them young girls pregnant too.
Yeah, I believe he was in the on it too.
Yeah, he got a baby by I forgot what the girl name was, but she was one of the friends that was friends with all of them young girls. His old dirty ass. I mean, excuse my language. He just
So that little document, did that come from the Tiffany's deposition, or where did that even come from?
What we reading?
The one where it was like he said, yeah, he would pay me $12,000 and I would say he did it or whatever. Where did that come from?
Is this the interview by Jack Palladino?
No, Jack Palladino got killed. That's what I'm tripping on. Remember, he got killed, I think, 2020? Outside his house.
Maybe I need to go back up and read
that. That was Derrel Mcdavid. Yeah, I had got a little confused. My son had came here and was talking to me, so I got sidetracked. So I didn't get to hear the last.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out where that came from.
Where this whole thing came from.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's go back.
It came from greed. It came from greed and knowing that they ain't have no money and they knew a way to get it from somebody that had a problem with.
I think he said Susan Loggins, but yeah, let's go back.
I thought it was one of the reports that Jack.
We're gonna go back up. We're gonna find it right now.
Yeah, because I had already said I was gonna have to go back.
And say it was true. Okay, hold on. Demetrius Smith, 12,000. Here we go. She told Demetrius, okay, Watkins, General told him, draw your attention to the yellow portion.
Yeah, right there. You just passed it.
Hold on, but let's see where this came from. First, defendant.
Okay,
this was one of the reports you received from Jerry Margolis.
Oh.
That was authored by Jack Palladino.
Oh, wow.
This was Jack Palladino's interview.
So he's not able to testify. Something is real fishy with this because he got killed not too long ago, and now all of a sudden they're using all of this stuff from him. It just seems
all
real
of a sudden
shady.
Palladino did everything. He did all of it.
Yeah, and somebody passed away too, right? A woman.
Yeah, the other attorney, she got hit by a truck or something. Yeah, one of his other attorneys. What was her name? Was it
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember her name either.
Hold on. There was the what was her name, y'all? Somebody in the chat.
It wasn't Geddes.
What was the name of that attorney that got ran over by a car or something like that, and they came back, made sure she was dead, and hit her again or
Yeah,
something.
hit her again. Yeah.
Damn.
Linda. It
There
was
you go.
Linda something,
Yeah.
right?
Minch.
Mhm.
Linda Minch.
Yeah, Linda
Mm.
Minch.
Okay, hold on. All right, so let's go back up. Okay, told her she would give her $10,000. And the yellow part advised, let's have an hour moving to 3. Watkins called us again, said he finished the 3-way with the merchant. My argument. Okay. And then you said, okay, yes, explain. Now you have alleged witness who willing to lie for money. Hates Robert at this point. Okay. Yes. All right. And, first of all, okay, I think we was right. We left off right in here, I believe.
3110.
Hold on. Huh?
3110.
Okay, 3110. Okay. Okay. So go ahead and read that answer at the top. Thank you.
Because because Barry hated Robert and would do anything he could to destroy Robert. So the fact that he's behind this and offering money, there's no way I could believe this was true.
And then when it goes on to say that Watkins indicated that Demetrius offered her $10,000 to meet with the Chicago attorney and file a lawsuit claiming that she had sex with Kelly in the past while underage, and held out the expectation that lawsuit would be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to Watkins. And Watkins told Demetrius that while she had dated Kelly as an adult, she had never had sex with him while underage. And so any such statement or lawsuit by her would be false and fraudulent, but nothing deterred Demetrius. So, but being not deterred, Demetrius told her that the truth did not matter if she filed such a lawsuit. Given the publicity around Kelly at the time, he would settle quickly for hundreds of thousands of dollars, which Demetrius expected a freaking. Y'all, I don't like shit. I don't like stuff like this. I really do.
Yeah, he's real dirty.
I really don't. I don't. Man.
Okay, I have one thing to say because Javante wouldn't lie. So I believe Tiffany did sleep with him when she was underage.
Yeah, but this is not the Tiffany. This is another one. This is Atty Watkins, not
Are you sure?
Yeah.
we ain't got Devontae on. We ain't talking about
Something Watkins. It's on line 20.
Yeah, see, that's Watkins. That's not
Tiffany's
Hawkins.
last name is Watkins.
Hawkins. No, it's
Oh,
Hawkins.
Hawkins.
My bad.
Hawkins. Atty Watkins and Tiffany Hawkins is two different people.
Oh, these names. Okay.
Yeah, Atty ATI is her first name.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. McDavid, tell me when you read those words that Miss Watkins had informed Mr. Palladino that Demetrius wanted to get a cut of the money that Mr. Kelly would settle because of the bad publicity, even if it was a lie. Just explain your reaction when you saw that.
it made me sick.
Why do you say that?
Cause man, Demetrius and Robert was friends. I know Demetrius had issues with Robert, but the fact that he would actually go out and try to get somebody to lie and then take a cut of the money was disgusting to me.
Drawing your attention to page 2 of defense exhibit number 2, McDavid, yellow portion. After Watkins, in the company of her aunt, told the attorney that she rehearsed a false story she had been instructed to tell by Demetrius, she added that none of it was true. The attorney apparently not into the fraud stopped the interview at that point and indicated that under the circumstances, she could not, of course, take the case. And then at the bottom of it indicates when Demetrius arrived at the aunt's hotel that evening, she introduced him to Jack Palladino, who explained that Demetrius had been trapped in a sting. When you, damn, whoa, they set his ass up because they knew he was.
They knew he was dirty.
Oh my gosh.
Hmm.
When you read that, were you familiar with anything that Jack Palladino had done to memorialize Demetrius Smith's efforts
Yes, I am.
to obtain false claims against Robert Kelly?
I'm sorry.
You're okay. You fine.
Yeah, yes, I am.
What did he do?
He had to wear a wire.
Okay, and drawing your attention to the Defense Exhibit 3, a January 26, 2001 statement of Osti Watkins. Was this prepared by Mr. Palladino or provided to Mr. Margolis?
Yes, sir.
Was it provided to you?
Yes, sir.
All right. And before we get into the content of it, if we could look at the last page here. It didn't appear to be signed here. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but when you got to this, was it your understanding that there was actually a handwritten version of this maintained by Jerry Margolis?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and if you can, and if we can show you the typed up version here and have you look at it. In the declaration of Osti Hawkins that you reviewed, did you review this around January 26, 2001, shortly thereafter?
Yes, sir.
And in it, it says, after 12/21/2000, sometimes article came out, and that was an article about Mr. Kelly and some sexual allegations, right?
Yes.
Ms. Appleton?
Objection. Objection, Your Honor, with the leading.
Yes, I am. I'm sorry.
I'll lay the foundation for it.
Wait. There's an objection. Leading. Don't lead.
I won't. Mr. Mcdavid, first of all, it says after 12/21/2000, sometimes article came out. Generale called me and said he had spoken to Barry Hankerson and there would be $10,000 for me up front for my testimony. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Now that 12/21/2000 sometimes article, as you recall, Mr. Mcdavid, was that an article? And I think we'll talk about it later, actually. But was that an article that was about publicity, about Mr. Kelly and allegations about sex with underage?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor, as to the leading nature of these questions.
He's free to answer yes or no, Judge. I don't.
Yes or no means it's a leading question, Your Honor.
Actually, that's not true.
Wait. I'll rule. Mr. Brinley, you don't have to rule.
Thank you.
Overruled. But again, make sure you give them leeway to make an answer.
Of course. Was this an article that was about? And we're going to talk about it, a little later if you're worried about it. But is this an article that you actually about Mr. Kelly and allegations of underage sexual relations? Are you 14?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so after an article of that nature came out in the Sun Times, and in fact, was it your understanding that part of what was in the article was Tiffany Hawkins' allegations? Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so after the article came out, this person, Generale, called and said he'd spoken to Barry Hankerson and had $10,000 for me up front for my testimony. Now, when you read that and you saw that Barry Hankerson was putting up this money, how did that impact your view of the entire situation?
It made me nervous and scared. I mean, as far as the allegations were concerned, I knew they weren't true at this point, but it convinced me that Barry was out to destroy Robert.
And then it goes on to say, now, did Robert and Barry have a antagonistic relationship after he was terminated?
Well, Barry claimed he was owed $1 million, roughly $987,000, something like that.
How much of that did he get?
Zero.
Okay, now, in this statement from Miss Watkins, it says, I subsequently have been contacted by Demetrius, who also has sought statements from me against R. Kelly. During January 2001, Demetrius made numerous phone calls to me in which he offered me $10,000 and then $12,000 to give false evidence under oath against Rob. That's Demetrius has asked.
Demetrius needs to sell right next to R. Kelly.
He really do.
Yeah.
Right next to him. Demetrius has asked that I testify to having been sexually intimate with R. Kelly while still only 17, despite the fact that I never made such an allegation to Demetrius or anyone else, specifically denied this allegation to Demetrius and have explicitly stated to Demetrius that any such allegation would be false and a lie. Now, when you are reading this, Mr. McDavid, and you are seeing that Barry Hankerson and Demetrius Smith are offering over $10,000 to someone who to lie explicitly after you found out what that was going on, how would it be possible for you to view any civil claim of someone coming for money like this as being true or likely true?
Objection, Your Honor. Objection. That's argument.
The objection is sustained on that. That was pretty leading.
Let me ask it to you differently. Let me ask you a different way, Mr. McDavid, then. When you read this, how did that impact your viewpoint of any civil allegation coming in where you were, asking for money, whether people are asking for money, or when you know that this person is telling Jack Palladino that there were people out there offering to pay for lies?
That they will be false.
Turning to the second page of Ms. Watkins' statement as memorialized by Jack Palladino, Demetrius has even attempted to coach me in this lie, suggesting that part of the false allegation, as part of it, and an effort to make it more credible, I specifically include descriptions of various sexual acts, including oral sex. Although aware that at any time that I was sexually intimate with Kelly before I turned 18 would be false. Demetrius has offered me a large sum of money at various times, 10 to 12,000, to meet with an attorney, falsely claimed that I've been sexually intimate with R. Kelly before the age of 18, and then have the attorney file a lawsuit against R. Kelly on my behalf. Demetrius has told me that he expects that R. Kelly will settle such a false claim for hundreds of thousands of dollars rather than endure bad publicity. Mr. McDavid, that last part in particular, that Demetrius told me he expects R. Kelly will settle such claims for hundreds of thousands of dollars rather than endure bad publicity. How did that impact your viewpoint of these civil cases and how they were being handled?
Well, it may that more people will be coming forth with false allegations and expecting to get hundreds of thousands of dollars.
TLM ATL, yes, Demetrius got immunity. Yes, he did. All right. Now, after having read this and knowing that there was an effort by Barry Hankerson and Demetrius Smith to pay for false allegations, what, if any, was your opinion, generally speaking, about any civil allegation where people just ask for money without going to the police after that?
That they would be false.
Based on what you knew at the time, what other conclusion could you come to?
None.
Why do you say that?
Because the two experiences that I had with both involved people either lying or trying to be bribed. So based on the experience and what I knew at that time, there was no way I could believe anything that came forward that could be true.
Now, after having read, now you've seen you had the experience with Hawkins' lawsuit, and have you read Jack Palladino's report regarding Ashley Watkins and her statement in January 2001? After that, how much involvement did you actually have with the subsequent civil lawsuits?
Little to none.
Okay, and why was that?
Because I was a Robert CPA, businessman. I had a lot of work to do. There was no reason for me to believe these allegations. I had the best lawyers in the country that could find, so I let them deal with it. And to the extent that he told me to write checks, to sell these things, I listened to him and I did it.
Now, after the Watkins incident and the Hawkins lawsuit, did you ever have any reason to change your beliefs about the truthfulness of these claims at any time?
No.
Now, did Jerry Margolis express to you any particular concerns or worries after the two of you have been provided with Ms. Watkins' statement about Barry Hankers's involvement of these bribes?
Yes.
What did Mr. Margolis say?
That he believed Demetrius and Barry was on a campaign to destroy Robert. He was extremely concerned about it because Barry had the wherewithal, the means, the money, and his reputation was that he would do anything he had to do to get what he wanted. So Jerry was, very concerned.
And directing your attention to December of 2000. In December of 2000, was there any other incident that you can recall that implicated Barry Hankerson and actually connected him to issues related to Jane and her family that we've heard about on this case?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so in December of 2000, what happened that you were aware of? Just explain it to us, how you were made aware of the issue in December of 2000.
Well, Robert called me.
Okay, and what did Robert tell you was going on when he made the call to you in December of 2000?
Well, their goddaughter, minor one, was being harassed by law enforcement to admit that there was an inappropriate relationship between him and minor one.
Okay, so when Robert said that his goddaughter, or minor one, or Jane, the names we've heard her by, that they were being harassed about an improper relationship with he and Jane. Is that the first that you ever heard of the idea of an improper relationship between Robert and Jane? We're going to stop right there.
Yeah.
3120.
Yeah.
The top of 3120, y'all. That's what somebody type it, put it in the chat, please. We're stopping at the top of 3120.
Golly, boy.
King Johan, I just saw what you put in the chat. There was a situation Demetrius had talked about where R. Kelly exposed himself to him in a mirror or something like that. I remember him talking about it, but I can't remember what it was on. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
Right, because I'm sitting here listening and I'm like, hold on, wait a minute, did I just hear that?
Yeah, he said that Robert was like naked and exposed himself to him.
Oh man, really?
I've never heard of it. But
man.
And Demetrius like told him to get the hell out of here or something like that.
Thank you. That's
So
what you
yeah,
say.
I remember that. It happened in New York trial. It was a New York trial. We came out
Yeah, that's what you
Okay.
say. That's what you say. You say no, sir. No. The hell?
What bothers me about McDavid is that he's sitting here and acting like he's so disgusted about the thought of what Demetrius did, or that he could, pay money to do this. But he was so willing to dismiss any other further child. It's not like we're talking about grown women that are coming up and saying this or that happened. He's just like, oh, well, yeah, that means they're all liars.
Yeah, he was basically
At
like,
one
here
point,
come
where
another
there's smoke,
one.
there's fire. Yeah. So you are still willing to like suspend reality that it's always the same age range that's coming and accusing him. That's
But
not.
this is what
It
gets
doesn't
me
make sense.
though. Remember he was saying that he was trying to convince him to stop buying like new cars and get used cars. Okay, you're trying to convince him how to budget and be smart with his money, but you just want to pay these people to shut them up, and you're not
Mm-hmm.
talking about like 10,000, 20,000. You're talking at least $500,000. Make it make
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, and
Well,
you're
see,
acting like he doesn't have any business manager friends and be like, hey, what's the cost of business costing you, whoever's helping Babyface or something? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
and
oh,
see,
no, we don't
well,
have allegations over here.
what I think is like, I even go to the point. It's like, okay, when these people is coming up with these whatever randoms amounts of money amounts, is he throwing something on top of it and taking some and putting some, like, you know what I'm saying?
Who, McDavid?
Yeah,
I don't
Oh,
think he was.
McDavid was robbing him
that's
blind.
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like,
I
wouldn't
don't
like,
think he was doing it with all of them, especially the ones that went
no,
through
not
on
all, not
paper.
all,
But
but
like,
at least,
definitely whatever he was doing with Keith and them, he was
oh
definitely
yeah,
jacking that.
oh yeah, he was throwing stuff on. That's why I'm like, oh, you would think so, especially if he handling all his money.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't care how rich I am, I'm gonna need to at least be the one to sign the check. If you write
Yeah,
them all, and once a week you come and bring me all the checks, and I'll be like, and what is
right,
this for? And what is that for?
exactly.
Who is just? We're not in a
when they
relationship.
found
Why
out
are you
when
getting my
he
checks?
found out that he was illiterate, he was like, "Oh, I got me one."
Oh
For
He
real,
was
yeah,
I got a
cashing out
sweet lick.
without a
yeah.
doubt.
Mhm.
A little bit in the
Mhm.
baggie, a little bit
If
in.
Kelly had any brains, he would have had somebody there that he trusted to
Well, he
read
did trust
text
him.
with him.
He did.
No. Outside of the lawyer.
Yeah, but Atmos, when you think about it, when you have someone that is willing to help you hide
Yeah.
actual
Yeah.
criminal
Good point.
activity,
Okay.
why wouldn't you trust them about,
Good point.
whatever
Yeah,
I'm getting on merchandising?
because
You're right.
right,
Right, I wouldn't even
because they
ask
now they
him
dirty.
nothing.
Because now they just as dirty as you, and you know that.
Yeah, and they got you either
Yeah,
way. Like, so,
I wouldn't ask him
Good point.
nothing.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah, that nigga
I don't know.
crazy.
All I know is that out of all the people we've heard, something about McDavid is just disturbs my spirit.
Mm.
He thinks he's smarter than the lawyers. He thinks he's smarter than everybody.
Why do you
He
think
really
he was
thinks
so
people are
happy to get
falling
up on
for
that
it.
stand?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
he,
he
he
thinks
just
they're
wants to
falling
act
for it.
like, so you're telling me that you're a whole CPA, so a college graduate, and you're a business manager for, you know, arguably the largest artist at the time, and you were just so, juvenile and like, uncultured. Just be like, oh yeah, so I mean, they just brought me a check and I just signed them, and I didn't wonder why it was so many.
Yeah, he
Get
really
out of
thinks
here.
people are falling for this mess. I don't understand
And
it.
let's all for foundation, you guys, let's all stipulate that this is post Aaliyah. So it's just like, fool, you already know. Like, you have concrete proof that he gets down like this. So
Right.
stop acting like you're just like, oh, I mean, yeah, just
Yeah,
shrug
just
my
grown
shoulders.
women. What do you
You know
Yeah.
mean?
that boy. You know that boy nasty.
Yeah, this is fully after Aaliyah, which you were fully involved with.
You know he a whole perv.
And like, okay, so just to play devil's advocate, you guys, yes, Demetrius is lame according to these documents that Palladino took notes on and whatever. But it's also something to be said of like, if Demetrius was closer to Hankerson and Hankerson is now doing his best to try to bring R. Kelly down, it could be some kind of just like, vendetta revenge for what he did to Aaliyah, and he couldn't really point the finger of him
See,
molesting Aaliyah. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just
I,
saying
I
there may
think
have been motive.
what you're saying, that's a great point you make. However, when you look at the fact that Hankerson felt like he was owed $970,000 and he didn't get a dime back, he probably was using Demetrius to say, "Hey, get up hundreds of thousands. You're gonna break. I'm gonna get my money one way or the other."
Yeah, but both things could be true. I can want my money, and I could want you to be in jail.
Yep.
Right. That's why I dropped the tape off. Allegedly.
He wanted to. He said he wanted to destroy him.
Yeah, that way he
Be
ain't
like,
got
but
no
before I
get back
destroy
coming.
you, let me get my dollars.
Let me get my money. Then I'm gonna tell you
You're
that.
holding on to some of my coins, please.
The way
That's
I
the same
see
thing.
it,
That's really the same thing with all of them. They all
Barry
got all
and
the money.
Diane.
When the money stopped,
Hold on, one at a time. Hold on. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, the way I see it, Barry and Diane are almost in the same boat as Rashana's parents. I'm sorry. I mean,
who's Diane again?
Diane is Aaliyah's mother.
Oh, right.
They're just as bad.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
yeah.
Because it was confirmed. I don't know what I was reading, but it was some type of transcript, but that they fully knew after the fact. And I'm not saying like during and allowed it continue, but like they fully knew what had happened, and no one went to the cops or anything.
No, they didn't.
Nice. Go ahead, Ike Nice.
Yeah, I was saying what she was saying that once everybody got all the money that they could get, and then the money stopped. Now we're on the campaign to destroy because we ain't no more money to get. So now let's everybody get together and destroy.
Right? It's like you can only recycle until you have to throw something in the trash, right?
Right.
Well, the settlement factory took all his money.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about Homegirl right now, logins or whatever, and I'm like, may whatever you bought with all that money forever, because like no good should come to you, like, because you knew what you were doing. Not only were you steering girls into just a settlement, and I'm sure, especially as young as they were probably saying, oh, this is way easier. You don't want to go to court and have to, they're gonna
all that attention and
do
all
examinations on you, and they're gonna make you relive it. Just take your money and start a new life or whatever. And then on top of that, falsifying their documents just to make sure that she closed the loop and that she fully ran the play. And I'm like, no good should come to you, man. No good whatsoever.
Yeah, Susan, she needs to sell too.
Man.
And also, I think these people are wild enough that they probably paid for her own commercials. Like, no lie, right? Because the lawsuits had to go to Susan to keep them quiet. If they went to somebody else and somebody else was just like, oh, wait a minute. No, we need to take this to criminal law. You know what I mean? Someone with a heart.
They probably did.
They had to go to her. So they probably paid for the commercials too.
Funded it and all.
Yeah.
I wanted to sound like them 411 call commercials.
And you remember the guy that was working for Susan? I think his name was Ian. He was in the documentary. He said that he left that firm because she kind of hindered him from doing, more for Tiffany.
Oh, right. The heavyset one. Yep. Yep. Heavyset with glasses. Yep. I don't know. It's just like when you just, I don't know, money corrupts for real, because
for real.
Like, that's what the root of all of it is somebody wanted to keep their bag, you know what I mean? what is his name? McDavid wanted to keep his whatever percentage. XYZ wanted to, sell the tape. XYZ wanted to, you know, stay employed as a drummer, or guitarist. It's
That's why
all.
the trail. That's how the trail happened.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. It's really sad. It's really sad.
Man, listen. This thing is it's kind of crazy to look at it
It's
now.
like something is blowing. Do you hear that? It's like a fan or something.
It
Yeah,
could be me. Let me mute.
there you go. It's McDavid is a very polarizing character. You know, he has the credentials, the brain, the wherewithal, the knowledge, the expertise, and the experience to get on a stand and defend himself.
Mm-hmm.
And so it doesn't surprise me that he knows all of the right answers.
Mm-hmm.
What does surprise me is how much he's not throwing R. Kelly under the bus.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he could do that without
made
throwing
a pass.
himself under.
Yeah, I think. But with yeah, that
You can't say, yeah, he's a dirty son of a gun or whatever.
I think the
And I
fact that
signed checks
he's
for
not
him.
doing it makes him look more disingenuous.
Yeah, because I think June Brown is leaning towards that way, saying, now that I know what a horrible person he is, blah, blah, blah.
No, because it's just like you're trying to act oblivious to what's been
Oh, yeah.
confirmed. Like all
Yeah.
these girls. Come on now. Come
if
on.
not oblivious, just condoning it. Like low key, just still
Right,
condone.
but
Low
he's
key
acting
condoning.
oblivious on the stand.
Oh well, yeah.
Oh
Like, oh,
yeah,
yeah. Like, I
I never
mean,
seen
just,
anybody but grown women. What do you mean?
yeah, one, you're a liar. And then two is just like, so you literally saw two quote unquote liars to you, even though I don't believe Tiffany Hawkins was a liar. But so you saw two quote unquote liars to you and said everybody else, the hell with them. What? That doesn't even make sense.
Mm. Well, y'all, another amazing read. Thank you very
What you
much.
eating at Atmos?
Man, my wife made me some doggone air fried chicken wings.
Oh
And don't talk to me about the fry, man. I'm a fry master, man. I'm an air fry master.
Bruh, listen,
Air frying is changing lives out here, boy.
Man, I'm trying to tell you.
man, these things so good. But y'all listen up. We're gonna get off here. Some of y'all gotta go to work in the morning, like I do. And
Question: How have they fully rested? Have they done closing arguments? When is it over?
why don't let's do this? That's a great question.
I know the closing argument started today. I don't know if they finished.
Oh, did they?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When does the jury charge come? I thought they were supposed to be doing all that too.
After the arguments, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I thought we were supposed to see them, hashing it out. Meaning the judges and you know what I mean? I thought they did that on the record. And I'm still waiting on the prosecution to say, yes, 17 is the age of consent, but only if there's, less than a 5-year age difference.
Well, I saw what. Did you see what Tears posted earlier? Something from what's the guy they're doing all the screenshots from? One of the statements in the prosecution's closing statement was like, yes, it may be 17 in Illinois, but this is a federal case and federal age of consent is 18.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that's how it worked. That's interesting.
Probably because all of the interstate commerce, the phone calls, the hotel rooms, the planes, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So this is kind of like a breakdown. I usually do this at the beginning of the show. Break down exactly what happened today.
Is this where your dollar's going, Atmos?
This is where my dollar's going. Damn
Okay.
right.
I'm just trying to track them for you, boy.
I appreciate that. So, someone wants to jump in and start, I'll jump in. to help out too.
Yeah, I
But
can
this
start.
here, the headline is. Go and read the headline and jump in, please.
Jurors in R. Kelly trial dismissed for the day after one is replaced. Defense argument to resume Tuesday. I didn't hear one was replaced.
Yeah,
Anyway.
one of them had a panic attack. One of the jurors.
Oh
After all
man.
you've seen already, now you have a panic
Now
attack.
you're
But
gonna have
I
a
okay.
had to
panic
say we
attack.
at the finish line now. What the
Yeah, you didn't
Yeah,
see babies peed on, and now
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Anyways,
That's what you should have had when doing watching them doggone video clips.
exactly. All right. After 4 weeks of testimony from nearly 3 dozen witnesses, closing arguments in the Chicago federal trial of R. Kelly and two co-defendants began Monday with a scathing, methodical presentation from the prosecutors and a fire and brimstone statement on behalf of Kelly's former business manager. Prosecutors at the Dirksen U.S. courthouse started by reminding jurors of their strongest evidence against the singer, the multiple videos they viewed showing Kelly sexually abusing his 14-year-old goddaughter, Jane. Kelly and his team did their level best to cover up the fact that Robert Kelly, R. Kelly, the R&B superstar, is actually a sexual predator. They did their best, but in the end, they failed, Assistant U.S. Attorney Elizabeth Peloso said in the packed ceremonial courtroom. We are here today because those tapes that they concealed for 20 years are no longer their secret. You have seen the tapes. You've seen what Kelly did to Jane. Meanwhile, the attorney for Kelly's co-defendant, Derrel Mcdavid, told jurors in his closing argument that the prosecution was riddled with reasonable doubt and based on untrustworthy witnesses, and that McDavid had no way of knowing whether Kelly was really sexually abusing minors. The man didn't know, Bo Brindley said. They've got nothing. Their case can't be trusted. During a recess after Brindley concluded his arguments Monday afternoon, one of the jurors reported she was having a panic attack and was excused from the panel. The juror, a white woman who works for a public library, told courtroom personnel during a break that she doesn't think she can go on 1 minute more, and that waiting overnight would not help. U.S. District Judge Harry Lindenweber said. After a brief discussion, the woman was replaced by an alternate juror, a white man who appeared to be in his 60s. I've never driven anyone to a panic before, Brindley quipped
Can
before the
everyone
jury
mute while she's reading? I hear echo.
Okay. Brindley quipped before the jury re-entered the courtroom. Not a juror, anyway. The juror was the second to be excused from the trial due to a medical issue. The first was let go before the opening statements last month after reporting a sudden issue with her leg. The regular panel of 12 now stand at 7 women and 5 men. After a straightforward closing argument from attorney for Milton Brown. Oh, you went too far. Okay. Milton June Brown, Lindenweber said the remaining jurors home until Tuesday morning. Kelly's attorney, Jennifer Bonjean, is expected to deliver her closing argument, followed by prosecution rebuttal, jury instruction, and then deliberations. The remaining argument, like Monday's, promised to be fiery as well as lengthy. Kelly, 55, faces an indictment charging him with 13 counts of producing and receiving child pornography, enticing minors to engage in criminal sexual activity, and conspiracy to obstruct justice. McDavid and Brown are accused alongside him in an alleged scheme to buy back incriminating sex tapes that had been taken from Kelly's collection and to hide years of alleged sexual abuse of underage girls.
Thank you very much, CJ. If I can have Kayla, can you jump in?
Monday's arguments marked the third time in the past 14 years that Kelly has found himself in a criminal courtroom listening to prosecutors telling the jury that he was a sexual predator. The first trial in Cook County ended in acquittal in 2008 in part because Kelly and his co-defendants pressured Jane and her family to lie, according to prosecutors. Last year, Kelly was convicted of racketeering conspiracy in U.S. District Court in New York and sentenced to 30 years in prison. In her closing Monday, Pozzolo reminded jurors in explicit detail about what they have saw in 18 minutes of excerpts from 3 graphic videos during the first week of trial that allegedly showed Kelly sexually abusing Jane. That child, who had no prior sexual experiences in her life, was forced to lay down on that floor while that man sitting right over there urinated on her. That degrading act is forever captured on that video, she said. That abuse is forever memorialized. As she continued, Pozzolo walked over to within a few feet of Kelly's defense table and pointed directly at the singer. Who does that? She said. Who uses a 14-year-old child to film a video like this? This man, Robert Kelly. Kelly seated behind Kelly, seated between his lawyers in a light gray suit and glasses, stared straight ahead during that dramatic moment. Later, as Pozzolo detailed the charges against him, he bowed his head and shook it slightly back and forth. McDavid, meanwhile, stared straight at Pozzolo for much of the argument, sometimes shaking his head or leaning back in his seat with an arm slung over the chair back as she made particular points about him. Near the end of her roughly 2 hour argument, Pozzolo displayed photos of Jane and two of the other alleged victims, Pauline and Brittany, from their young teens on large monitors in the courtroom. She also reminded jurors of what R. Kelly looked like around the same time, pulling up a photo of him wearing sunglasses, his head shaved, and singing I Believe I Can Fly at the 1998 Grammys. Prosecutors also anticipated defense attorneys' attacks on prosecution witness Charles Freeman, who testified that he was paid to recover incriminating video footage at the behest of Kelly and his team. While the defense sought to discredit him, prosecutors said it's the defendants who chose Freeman to do their dirty work in the first place. No, they didn't call an upstanding citizen to get those tapes back. They didn't go to someone who's liable to go to the police, Pozzolo said. No, they went to Charles Freeman. They knew Freeman would do this job for money, and he would do it while keeping his mouth shut. And while defense attorneys on cross-examination seized on inconsistencies in testimony from Lisa Van Allen, the core of her testimony remained the same for years, Pozzolo said. Van Allen, a sometimes girlfriend of Kelly's, testified that she took a tape from Kelly's gym bag that depicted her and Kelly and an underage Jane, and then Kelly's team offered her hundreds of thousands of dollars to get it back. Her shame and pain for having had sexual contact with Jane were evident in her tearful testimony from the stand, prosecutor said. Is that the demeanor of someone who wants to be here? Pozzolo asked jurors. Is that the demeanor of someone seeking money and fame? The tape purportedly showing Van Allen, Kelly, and Jane has not been shown to jurors. The defense has said that's because it does not exist and that Kelly's team, in fact, was paying to retrieve a sex tape showing Kelly's wife. Prosecutors, however, alleged that it did show child pornography, but Kelly's team successfully covered it up. Both Van Allen and Jane testified about the tape sexual encounter, and McDavid withheld Van Allen's full payment until after Kelly's Cook County child pornography trial, Pozzolo noted. The fact that McDavid withheld $50,000 from Lisa shows you that Derrel McDavid knew what was on the threesome video. This was not a regular porno, as defense counsel wants to call it. She said, if it was a regular porno that would embarrass Kelly, they would just pay the money. And while Brown was on the lower totem pole, common sense points to his full knowledge of Kelly's abuse of Jane, Pozzolo noted. Travel records indicate that he was in Mexico at the same time as Jane and her family after Kelly paid for them to get out of the country, and shortly afterward, he was tasked with driving her to get a tattoo of his name covered up. And when prosecution witness Keith Merrill arrived with an incriminating tape, Brown told him he had the golden egg, Pozzolo noted. Brown was not some innocent bystander who robotically made hotel reservations and drove people to the airport. Brown knew full well what was going on, she said. Prosecutors also anticipated a likely defense argument by saying McDavid was following the guidance of an experienced legal team, including criminal defense attorney Edward Jensen and longtime entertainment lawyer Gerald Margolis, who would have never staked their careers and reputations to promulgate child pornography.
Thank you very much, Love. Thank you.
Mhm.
Shay, can you jump in right there? Hey, Shay, you there? Shay? Okay, maybe she stepped away. You there, Shay? Okay. All right. The question I start with is, would they ever do that? Brinley said, these men, would they ever do that? Does it make sense that all these men would do that for someone they knew was abusing children? Really? Brinley said that the government's own witnesses contradicted the allegations that Mcdavid was knowingly participating in a conspiracy, including whether Mcdavid was even present for a meeting in the Oak Park Hotel where Kelly allegedly confessed to Jane's parents about the relationship with their daughter. They want Derrel to be in that room. I'm sorry to say the evidence says he was not, Brinley said. Brinley also noted that Jane's mother, Susan, testified she didn't believe the payments Kelly made to the family was to buy their silence. What is striking is the U.S. government trying to get Derrel Mcdavid, and in so doing, moving away from what their own witness said, Brinley said. Brinley chose to abandon the lectern of his arguments and instead stood directly in front of the jury, walking back and forth with a microphone pinned to his lapel. The microphone seemed superfluous, given that Brinley spoke at the top volume for most of his presentation. He argued in the cadence of a preacher, waving his hands and thrusting his finger in the air to emphasize certain things. Oh man, it's gonna be fun.
Is Brinley black?
No, Brinley's a white man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. CJ, you want to wrap it up right there?
Sure. He argued, okay. He was accompanied by a brightly colored slideshow that flashed his main points on the screen, often in huge white text on red and yellow backgrounds. The story is just plain stupid, one slide stated about Freeman, and on a subsequent slide, just one giant word: ridiculous.
Oh my God.
Brinley had. I wish he was putting my life on the line for a PowerPoint. Anyways, Brinley had particular scorn for the testimony of Freeman, the one-time merchandiser for Kelly's tours, whom he blasted as a talentless, tactless T-shirt man.
Damn.
Damn,
Brinley's-
Showtime, he's coming for you.
Yeah, Showtime. Brinley said Freeman's testimony about busting into a Georgia home like Shaft to recover a sex tape was just plain stupid. Like, like if you want, but you can't believe him because he didn't act like an honest person, and his own words betrayed him as a liar, Brinley said. After Brinley wrapped up and returned to the defense table, Mcdavid took off his glasses, sniffed quietly, and wiped away tears. Mary Judge, an attorney for Brown, was decidedly more low-key, promising jurors at the beginning of her argument not to yell at them as much as Brinley. She said prosecutors failed miserably, at proving Brown knew about any child pornography, characterizing Brown as a low-level assistant who would not have been brought in on Kelly's most closely held secrets. Kelly's employees were told to stay in their lanes, Judge said, and all government's evidence proved is that Brown was doing his job as Kelly's assistant. Carrying R. Kelly's bags, even if they did contain child pornography videos, is not enough if Milton Brown did not know what was on the tapes, and there is no evidence that he did, Judge said. The defense rested their cases Friday afternoon, while prosecutors had hoped to call witnesses in rebuttal, particularly Kelly's former manager, Barry Hankerson. Linen Weber said they could not call any witnesses who who were not ready to go immediately Friday afternoon. Lennon Weber is under pressure to move things along quickly, he said when prosecutors asked if they could briefly present witnesses Monday. Either do it today or not. Lennon Weber also denied prosecutors' request to prohibit defense attorneys from quoting from trial transcripts during closing arguments.
Wow. Wow.
Like, I understand that the judge is supposed to, kind of direct the case to stay within certain parameters, right? Of what's the fairest for all sides. But to tell me that I can't bring up more witnesses, what the hell? Because what?
He starts a new trial or something this week, and they need the courtroom.
No, they already pushed it back to March.
They did?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
They pushed that back to March. So
Hey,
what's up?
Showtime, what you got to say? Brindley got it in for you.
Okay, you talentless,
they
talentless
called you a
T-shirt man.
T-shirt.
Well, I found that appalling. I am baffled, and they are belligerent with their responses.
They playing with your top.
Hey man, look, what's crazy about it? It still trips me out that this note that this dude walked around with tapes of kiddie porn in his book bag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, and not only that, I remember watching something where they said that his assistants would have to carry the book bag and like wear it as he played basketball and like run up and down the court with the book bag on, playing basketball because he wanted to make sure he could play against people he could beat.
That is crazy.
And then I also wonder, can like Tiffany Hawkins, I would want to sue for like defamation because you're literally in court trying to say that I fully lied, that I'm just a liar. Like McDavid called her a liar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it does look fishy, the fact that at first she said she was pregnant, then she said she wasn't. But none of that.
Well, it wasn't that she wasn't pregnant. It was that the baby wasn't his.
Oh, okay. But whatever. But I'm just saying, like, you still can't call me a liar about being abused as a child, though.
Mm.
Especially,
so she was sleeping with R. Kelly and somebody else at the same time?
That's how it came out, because if you watch the docuseries, the second part, The Reckoning, it says in the credits that the baby was not R. Kelly's.
Okay.
Well, there's that. Well, y'all, just so y'all know, we are at the end of this trial. Any help that we can get today, we did end up. I came out of my own pocket, $75, so we could get these transcripts today. It was the ones from yesterday, from the ones from Friday. Actually, it was $258, but I put in the extra $75 to get us the transcripts. So I can't afford to keep doing that. So whoever can help, as we come together, if we can get these transcripts put in together and get the one from today, which is very fiery. We definitely want to read the closing arguments from the defense, because there's going to be a lot of stuff in there that this paper did not get. Mm-hmm. And like I said, one of them, it was 2 hours. So there's a lot of stuff in there. So if we can start raising money for this, now, that will be excellent. Y'all know how to get the Cash App, $ This Blessed House. It's right here on the screen. Other than that, y'all are amazing. I sent out the transcripts today that I got for Friday, but if we can start going ahead and raise money to get that together, that would be very, very awesome.
Okay.
Well, thank y'all very much, man. Y'all have a blessed night, and tomorrow night, let's get back here at 2:00. Available. I'm sorry, 9:00. 2:00.
I'm sorry, I have to work again.
That's fine. You get off at 10, all right?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll still be here if you want to come on.
Okay. You said 2:00. I'd have like my brother Atmos. I don't think I would be available for that, sir. I don't think that I would be able to make that function.
No, 2 o'clock, I can't make that one either. But no, if we can get in here tomorrow at 9 o'clock, that would be great. And then
For
you know,
sure.
get back on that. I appreciate y'all coming on here, man. Y'all get some rest tonight. And I will see y'all in the AM. Does anyone have anything else they want to say before they leave tonight?
Good night,
No,
everybody.
nope. Onwards to 5,000.
Onwards,
Okay,
man.
yes.
Onwards to 5,000. When I tell y'all that once this thing breaks and we get a little break and we're done, we are going to celebrate. We're gonna have a big old party on this channel. Thank you, Faith Beers. I got the 20. So Faith Beers started us off with 20. So that's awesome. They've been averaging out to right around 250 to 312. That's what they've been averaging out to per day. But we only got a couple more days to get that. That should be today. And obviously tomorrow, I believe the prosecution going to start their closing. And then it's going to be the deliberations, y'all. So if we can just come together just for a couple of days, I think that would really be like super, super awesome. Okay?
Sounds good.
Y'all listen, y'all have a blessed night. And man, God bless y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Peace out.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
Haters, all good. Thought I couldn't when I could. Had a